What is good, everyone? Hi there. How are you guys doing? Thank you for being here today. Thank you for maybe watching this as a VOD, watching somewhere else. I don't know. Just thank you. As long as you're not watching this on the dark web, I'm cool. Even then, I'm watching. As for me, I'm doing fine. I'm supremely wet. Reason for that being my you might see that in my hair. The my refrigerator has a built-in water filter, and I wanted to change that. I swapped that out because it's old. Right before the stream today, and I forgot to turn off with the water, and I pull out that little thingy where the water flows through, and it jizzes all over my face. So that was an experience. I didn't think I'd get as a straight guy, but now I got it. It was refreshing. So much for that. We got more Higurashi today. We stopped not last week actually. It was 2 weeks ago because last week I couldn't stream. Uh, we stopped last time in the clinic of the no, not in the clinic, in the nurse's office of the school because Keiichi got violated by the cop. What's his name? Oishi. He was apparently sick of his shit and decided to just squeeze his shoulders until Keiichi almost cried, which was I don't know I can't really say it any other way. It was pretty funny. Let's be real, uh, because Keiichi is a fucking idiot, and he kind of deserves that for all the shit we had to go through with him. Police violence and brutality still isn't okay, guys. Just kind of let you know. But nevertheless, that was pretty funny. Okay, and that was apparently also the end of chapter 5. And people have told me that this now is where the game gets good. Like where everything kind of turns around, stuff starts getting all Higurashi-ish. So I was looking forward to this. We stopped at a pretty good point. All right, Irie, the coach guy, he also told us about Sadako apparently being like in a pretty bad spot before, like being. I think she was. Was it actual domestic abuse, or is my brain playing tricks on me? Point in case is she and Satoshi weren't really in a good family because of her. When her parents died, they had to go to their aunt, I think. And they kind of hated the kids. What domestic abuse? Yeah, they didn't Irie say that the aunt and the uncle abused the kids because they hated them for basically making their whole family hated by the village. So they felt ostracated and you know all that stuff. So maybe I'm just assuming here, but I think that Sadako and Satoshi probably got beaten, and I don't know, maybe even worse. Who knows? This is a dark story. It might have happened. Also, hi Dink. Thank you for dropping by. I hope you're having a good day. Night, actually, in your case. So yeah, let's go. Let's see what's going on. Also, Sadako didn't come to school, so we don't even really know if she's alive. I wholeheartedly wanted to protect her. I wanted, more than anybody else, what was best for her. These emotions, born from kindness, eventually became murderous intent. My pure white intentions, stained in red and black. What the fuck? Who is saying that? Is that Keiichi? And even as I understood that it meant the destruction of the day to day life I so wanted to protect. Tatarigoroshi. Where did I go wrong? Looking for the answer, the tragedy spreads even wider, ever wider. Okay, so for those that, because I'm using the original Japanese titles for the stream chapters as well and stuff. Tatarigoroshi basically means killing a curse, or curse killing is, I think it's the official translation of the arc. I have no idea what it's supposed to mean, and I think if you read it in another way, it can also mean being killed by a curse. I wonder if this game is even going to phase me now after playing Crusaia. We'll see. It's probably going to be another kind of disturbing, right? So that whole sequence right there, I wonder if that was from Keiichi, because he's been going on and on about wanting to protect the everyday life and her smile. So maybe he's gonna go crazy because he can't actually do that, and then he's gonna go all like, everybody who hurts Sadako has to die, kind of deal. So maybe this is actually a Keiichi goes berserk arc. Okay. It's Hojo-san staying home today too. Birthday-san, do you know anything? Also, I got a reminder of how violent action films can be today. I mean, yeah, if you can't do anything else, then you just gotta do violence. That's always gonna work in films, at least, right? That is a sad... Why is that? Why do we got sad music here? We're in school. The teacher's voice wasn't critical, but Rika-chan hung her head, unable to answer, and I felt really bad for her. The teacher called Rika-chan up, and they had an exchange in hushed tones and at the dyes. They got dyes everywhere. They love that shit. At first, Rika-chan said that Sadako's fever had grown worse, but everyone in class knew it was a lie. I like this. This is a really cool piano piece. It's super sad. Deadpool stepped way too many guys in the balls. I mean, isn't Deadpool known for being super over-the-top brutal? I've never watched a Deadpool film. Because every day, Rika-chan brought Sadako's bento with her. Oh, because she... Oh, okay, that's... She always brings the bento because she herself doesn't know if she'll come. It's just Deadpool being Deadpool. True. Hi, Jay. Sadako-chan, I wonder what happened. Don't ask me. I'm the one who wants to know most of all. Aren't we being Mr. Center of the Universe? It was already the 3rd day since Sadako's first absence. What? Oh, we skipped 2 days? Okay. Ever since then, I haven't felt good. Until just last Sunday, everything had been so much fun. I had reached out to Sadako like a real older brother, and we spent that time quietly, but warm and comfortable. So why had it suddenly been flipped over? The more I thought about it... Hello! Hey there, Dr. Silver, how you doing? He's like the goofy, mature-rated Marvel hero. It's a lot better than most Marvel characters, but that's not saying much. Did you guys see the early impressions of the Marvel Rivals, the Overwatch clone beta? They ran a beta last week. I didn't get to play it, but I heard a few things, and apparently it's actually a pretty good game. So, who knows? The more I thought that the world had taken a turn for the worse ever since Oishi arrived. Yeah, that's kind of what happens in this series. Screw that noise, they fixed TF2. What do they do? Thinking on it now, maybe the strange apprehensions plaguing me the night before Oishi arrived had been a sign. Kurado Oishi, Oyashiro-sama's servant. Shit, that's impossible. They can't decide Sadako will be the cursed victim this year just because he showed up. Just what sort of slip-up had I committed to cause the fun times to end so suddenly? You didn't do shit, bro. Okay. I feel like I'm gonna say this a lot throughout this game, but can Keiichi stop thinking that everything and everybody's everybody's life and decisions and everything in this village is his fault and responsibility? It's not. They finally got the bots. TF2 is playable again. Was there a bot problem in TF2? More of a DC guy, but Marvel Rivals looks pretty cool. I know I'm gonna get shit on by a lot of people for saying this, but if it's even remotely good as Overwatch, it's gonna be a decent game. Yeah, it was so bad. I've never played TF2, so I don't know. Okay, Keiichi, yeah, you're at fault. Yes, it was the day before Oishi appeared. Shion, Mion, and Rena had spoken of the curse surrounding Satoshi and his disappearance, and was so sinister it gave me a bad premonition. Such a small thing was the slip-up that invited Oyashiro-sama's servant. It was absurd. I kept on groaning to myself that I would never accept it, ever. I obviously wasn't the only one suppressing my feelings. Mion and Rena were too. Everyone in the class was doing it. Do not take this sentence out of context. Rika-chan knew something about Sadako's situation, but she wouldn't tell us. Rika-chan still held a calm attitude, like a cat basking in the sun. She was being unbelievably stubborn about this whole thing. She didn't want to tell us, and that wouldn't change no matter how many times we asked her. Everyone understood that, so nobody questioned her. If Rika-chan won't talk, then we just have to wait. And she might not be talking because it's something not worth saying. Yeah, nothing about Sadako is worth saying. There was no persuasive power in reassurance given... What? There was no persuasive power in reassurance given with an anxious face like that. Okay. Sentence. Good. Got it. Oh, is Mion gonna go crazy again? But the bots here was terrible for years. First time I'm hearing they actually fixed it though. Okay, so if TF2 is good now, I'm gonna download it and play it after today's stream. I said I would ages ago, and I'll do it. I'll check out TF2, and I'll let you guys know if it's actually good. As an Overwatch fan, I'll let you guys know. Mion was being taciturn and just looked up at the sky with a somehow annoyed expression. I couldn't tell if she was unhappy that Rika-chan wouldn't talk about it with her own friends, or if she was concerned over Sadako's well-being. And what about me? My anxiety was suffocating me day after day. If someone else were looking at me, then maybe I'd look annoyed like Mion did. Tap, tap. Someone tapped my shoulder. Oh, get lost. It was Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun. Maebara-san, do you have a minute? Your ball gets stuck again. You guys have to get it yourselves this time. Don't rely on the older kids for everything. Look, I don't know if you guys saw the first Elusive Samurai episode. But when Keiichi was trying to get the ball from the training on the roof, I was 100% expecting that instead of a ball, he'd actually on accident, like, a head would fall down, like Sadako's head would fall down. That would be one hell of a twist. Same, I'm down for some matches. If you want, we can play some matches. I'm currently in the back of my mind, I'm weighing the pros and cons of streaming this. Like, it might actually get a good number of views if I go like Overwatch fan or Overwatch diehard plays TF2 for the first time or something like that. But I don't know if I should. You guys let me know. I know that Joe would probably want that because he has told me that he wants to see me play TF2, and you guys could shit talk me for being sick. Sick was the bad, not the right word. My German brain. Being shit, being not sick, being actually bad. Are you an Overwatch diehard? Well, I am in the sense that it's the only team shooter I've ever played, so I guess so. I've also been playing it for almost like when did it come out? 8 years ago or something. So yeah, I kinda am, I guess. I didn't feel like going along with them, so I was a little unsympathetic with my response. We heard a little interesting rumor. A rumor? Yeah, I just thought it might have something to do with that. Fuck are you talking about? I mean, the only MMO I've ever played is 14. Doesn't make me a 14 diehard. Yeah, but like, if I played the game for 8 years, I played like an easy 500 hours probably. Overwatch was the TF2 clone to try and kill it. Well, sorry to say, but it kind of did. Or rather, TF2 killed itself, and then Overwatch came along. Because like you can say what you want about the quality of Overwatch, but the undeniable fact is a lot more people play that. About Sadako, they hadn't said that, but it didn't seem unrelated. They didn't want to talk in the classroom, so they pulled me behind the school building, lending further credence to that thought. TF2 is back though, its player base is returning. We'll see. I mean, it's not bad to have competition in the genre, right? It's a pretty small amount of games in that genre. Valve are morons for not supporting the game despite it having such a dedicated and large player base. How many people play that game? I've never talked to people playing that outside of you guys. The back of the school was damp and humid like always. Students didn't really come here because they wanted to. It might, however, have been the ideal location for trading rumors away from prying eyes. Tomida-kun, Okamura-kun, these rumors, they're about why Sadako was absent, right? We don't know if it has something to do with it, though, or maybe... What on earth happened to Sadako? Is she sick? Or could she be, like, really sick or injured or something? No, actually... I love when he says that, I get to do it. Actually, it's the opposite. I heard my grandma saying that she came to buy tofu at our shop yesterday. That's good. Oh, Tomida's family runs a tofu shop, added Okamura-kun. She went shopping to buy some tofu? My voice sounds so stupefied, even I can tell. It was understandable. I was worried about what grave illness or injury she had when the person herself had been out and about, shopping for tofu. So how was she? Did she look okay? Was she wearing a mask like she was getting better? Or was she using crutches, or did she have bandages on her? No, there wasn't really any signs of sickness or injuries on her, but I should have felt relieved that it wasn't an illness or an injury. But my anxiety wasn't going away. Because Tomida-kun and Okamura-kun's expressions weren't looking any better. I have a theory. Without the support of Overwatch, the game would be making them shit tons if they decided to give the game to a skeleton crew. I mean, are the players returning, or do they also make new content? Because if they don't make new content anymore, then the game is never gonna get back to where it was. Sure, there's always gonna be like a dedicated fan base for it, and people will play it, but it's not gonna make them money, so it's not gonna grow. You know, and that's how a live service has to be. Players make a ton of content, and devs added into the game. So they abuse the goodwill of their player base that wants new content, but they themselves don't do it. That's low. That's shit. Free to play. So is pretty much every other team shooter out there outside of Concord. We know why. Okay, so my theory is I think Sadako for some reason had to go back to her aunt's house. And is getting abused again. She escaped that somehow, but they never said how or why. And I kind of feel like she's back, because if she's not living with Rika anymore, she's got to live somewhere, right? So that might be the case. They are just not letting her go to school because they're afraid she might run away again. The fans make something cool and you can have it added for a player vote. I mean, that's good, right? That's a cool thing, but there's got to be high quality company made content that they can monetize. This is not Photoshop where they just steal your content and claim ownership, is it? You're the only person I have seen even mention that game. Go on to Asmongold's channel. He reacted to a Concord review, which was more of a funny shit talk about the game, by some dude I didn't know, but it was an awesome video. So I would tell you the video directly, but I've only seen the Asmongold reaction, and I can't remember the name of the creator. Otherwise, I'll check for it, and like I'll see if I can find it myself, and I'll link it in the Discord later, because that was an insanely good video. And it's not super long, but yeah, let's just say that was pretty much my impression of Concord as well. All right, let's see where this goes. Let's talk in about TF2 if I still haven't decided how to play it. More talking about child abuse. Much more interesting topic. She apparently came to buy one piece of soft tofu, but my grandma said it was strange. Strange? Why? What's wrong with buying soft tofu? Irritated by how roundabout they were being, I had to desperately fight that irritation from creeping into my voice. Well, Hojo infer they live by themselves, and they don't have that much money, right? So they only ever buy the cheaper, firmer kind of tofu. They've never bought the soft stuff. It's the most expensive thing there. Oh my god. Okay. Second theory, and I hope so much that I'm wrong. This is not... Because these games have tackled some serious topics, like the human flesh stuff from World War II that nobody talks about. Is this gonna go into some child prostitution shit? Dinkler, prepare yourself. This might be worse than we thought. Grab a teddy bear or something. Because she suddenly came into money, and I don't know why. Worse than Grisaya. Shit. Soft or hard, they're both tofu, right? Maybe she just wanted to eat some great tofu or something. Ooh, well, maybe, but I knew how transparent I sounded right then. This wasn't anything trivial, it was some kind of important clue. Not the cheap, firm tofu, but the expensive, soft kind. I know this is Yeah, we're foreshadowing shit and everything, but dude, we're talking over tofu for way too long. Shopping not in the evening after school, but in the middle of the day. Yeah, she dropped school and became, yeah. Sadako's a working girl. Amazing. I couldn't figure out what those things meant. As I thought hard about it, Okamura-kun took his turn to speak. Now that I have to say that, is there even like an industry for that in a town like this? Like everybody would know, right? I'm actually interested in trying out Fate Stay Night VN. Do it. I'll do it as well. I'll play it as well. I want to play it. I've been wanting to play it for ages because I've only seen the first season of the anime and that was insanely good.
Me next. This is just a rumor, but apparently he's black.
Oh, we're back. Okay.
Apparently he's back.
He? Who? Who's back? Backstreet Boys. No, that wasn't funny, but I had to do it.
Hojo's uncle.
Oh god. I was fucking right. Can we at least not combine the two? Please don't go into the Hojo's uncle made her a prostitute. Oh shit, man. Didn't know that Fate was VN and getting to see interesting scenes of Rin sounds like a fun time. Oh yeah. Sadako's uncle. Right, I think Coach told me about it. Their aunt and uncle had taken them in after Sadako and Satoshi lost their parents in the accident.
Hojo's uncle. They say he skipped town last year, scared of Yashiro-sama's curse. He's really scary and violent like a gang member.
Oh god, another Yakuza. Everything Coach told me came back in bits and pieces. So why is Tofu related to prostitution? Because she suddenly got money. She can buy the expensive shit instead of the cheap stuff she had to buy before. Where does the money come from? Does it come from the uncle? I don't know. Right. The mean aunt and... Do you say aunt or aunt? It's aunt, right? An uncle who had tormented them all the time. I think he said that after their aunt was beaten to death by the deviant, he ran away to his lover's house in Okinomiya in fear of the curse. Why do you have a lot? That's handy. Also, what was that human flesh thing? Um. Mion's the dude who founded Mion's Yakuza family was accused of he like run the provisions for the army or something, and he got accused of to save money and make it profitable, sell the flesh of fallen soldiers. I think, yeah, the experiments, and that's a real thing. Like that's not a made up story. This is not Higurashi canon. This is actually a thing in real world history. Uh, like it's never been proven as far as I know, but them talking about this, which is a mega taboo in Japan. Yeah. So this was just that's just why I said I can see them going into some heavy territory with this. Why is it always a creepy uncle? You know what the problem with this is? I'm now at the age where I can be the creepy uncle. Why would she be staying home from school and shopping for soft tofu in the middle of the day just because her uncle came back? No, please don't say that. I don't want to be. My underclassmen clammed up and looked downwards. There must have been some big hint buried here. Even if I didn't understand, if I told Mion or Rena about it, maybe they'd know something. Oh, my bad, you two. You were nice enough to talk about it, and I started hammering you with questions.
Oh, no, it's okay. We now know that she hasn't been in bed this whole time gravely ill. That's worth something, right?
True, that might be true, but it still won't. It won't make the clouds over my mind fade away.
Ah, my brother-san, over there.
Okamura-san cried wildly, pointing over my shoulders behind me. Startled, I turned around, and way on the other side of the schoolyard, near the school gate, I saw a figure trudging forth. What the fuck happened to that thing? Please cancel Enoji. He's a creepy uncle. I can be your creepy uncle if you want me to. But what the fuck happened to her eyes? Why is she... This ain't gonna be fun, is it? Now, my question is, are they supposed to be lifeless eyes? Or are they supposed to be cursed eyes? Like, is this a Rena situation or a Mion situation?
It's Hojo!
I burst into a run faster than I could speak, so that, as quickly as possible, I could see with my own eyes that she was okay. Oops. Fuck. Huh? What'd I do? Where'd the text box go? The fuck? Wait, what do I press? Oh, here. F1 probably, right? Please let animation finish. Sadako seemed taken aback by me shouting and running over to her. Oh my god. Ugh. Oh, okay, so this is the console preset. Ah, I changed presets. Okay. Got it. Okay, we found out something new. You can do that. Stop adding quotes of stuff I never said. You've seen some shit? Yeah, I don't want to know what shit, though. Oh.
My, what is it, Cage-san? You surprised me with all the yelling and running.
Stupid. Enough about me already. 3 days. What happened, Sadako? I was so worried.
What a worry word. It was only 3 days. You're such a worry word, Cage-san.
From listening to her, she seemed like the normal Sadako, but I could tell she was clearly acting strangely. Her smile was somehow forlorn. Can we not use that word, please? This is giving me invasion PTSD. And her complexion was bad for some reason. How?
Are you alright? Were you sick or something?
Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun both expressed their concerns. Just what happened anyway? Something I've noticed about VNs is they really don't give a shit about being safe. They don't mind delving into really fucked up shit. True. 3 days? Do you know how worried I was?
Oh, I do so apologize. I was just giving the house a good cleaning. We haven't used it for a rather long time, so everything was covered in dust.
Huh? Sadako, what are you talking about? Why would you have to stay home from school to clean the house? Sadako didn't answer me. Instead, she passed by me and headed for the entrance.
Gosh, it is nearly lunchtime, is it not? I am just starving.
It was certainly lunch break. I couldn't force her to stop after she told me she wanted lunch since she was so hungry. Well, whatever. Rika-chan's been bringing your lunch for 3 days now. You look like you can eat it today. Let's just go to the classroom and put everyone's minds at ease.
You're right. I suppose I may have caused everyone to worry. Yeah, it sure is tough being popular.
Not in the fandom, you aren't. Doesn't forlorn just mean sad or depressed? It does. Yeah. But the name brings back memories I don't want to remember. I put a hand on Sadako's shoulder and we ran to the classroom together. Up close, I was able to verify that Sadako looked somehow weak. All this anxiety was supposed to go away when I saw her again. That's what I had thought. But now, I actually started to have quite different fears. What the heck happened, Sadako? Everyone in class, of course, reacted in the same exact way I had. We were worried about you. I'm glad to see you well. What were you doing for 3 days? She's a bit young for that, but if she was like 4 years older or 3, it wouldn't be so uncommon for a girl that age, like, just stay home for 3 days, you know? Our classmates showered her in questions.
I truly do apologize for causing a fuss.
As she cackled, she chowed down on the bento Rika-chan had made for her. Those in the teacher's lounge must have been informed of Sadako's arrival because our teacher sprinted into the classroom, her breathing ragged. What are you trying to say exactly? What am I trying to say? What could I be trying to say? Hajo-san!
Sensei, sorry for worrying you these 3 days. As you can see, I am fit as a fiddle.
I was very worried about you. When you're done eating, come right to the teacher's lounge. I have a lot to talk to you about.
I must be in for a good scolding for these 3 days I cut class.
Sadako laughed sheepishly while she scratched her head, and the rest of the class burst out into laughter. She's a creepy uncle, you know what he's saying? Dude, what is creepy about that? It's just normal bodily functions. If you guys think that's creepy, what are you, 13? Seriously. You can talk about that shit, it's not that bad. The teacher was acting angry, but she breathed a sign of relief at seeing Sadako healthy and smiling as she ate her lunch with the class surrounding her. What a relief, right, Rena?
Huh? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm glad she's okay.
I looked at Rena and knew. She had a sense that something about Sadako was off too. I looked to see Mion detached from the clamor as well, with a somewhat grim expression. Has Mion said anything at all in this whole chapter? But Rika-chan, on the other hand, was smiling from ear to ear. She spread out the bento boxes one by one as Sadako finished them. Finally, Sadako was satisfied, and after enjoying a thorough conversation with her classmates, remembered that she'd been called into the teacher's lounge. Sorry, I think I missed the start of your insinuation and completely missed what you were getting at. That's fine.
It's such a pain, but I think she'll be angrier if I don't go.
To clarify, all I wanted to say with that is, like, if a teenage girl misses a few days of school, you don't make a big deal out of it and run up to her and ask what the hell happened. That you don't do that. Don't. If you ever become a dad and your teenage daughter wants to stay at home for a few days because she says she's not feeling well when she's like 13 or something, don't push her. Don't do that. Be sensible is all I'm saying.
I'll go with you.
Sadako rises from her seat and Rika-chan runs over to her.
Do apologize, Cage-san. I'll be right back after getting scolded.
Right. I mean, I could go with you too. We're all comrades in getting scolded in the teacher's lounge. Ever since the curry incident, right?
That won't be necessary. Keiji should mind the place while we're away.
Rika-chan's words were gentle, but the firm rejection was clear in her eyes. Sorry, my bad. I thought you were saying something way more weird. Now I don't get what you mean. The two of them exited into the hallway, walking shoulder to shoulder. After seeing them off, the class breathed a collective sigh of relief, broke apart, and went back to their usual lunch break banter. We, however, couldn't go back to how we usually were. Not I, not Mion, and of course, not Rena. They stared at the classroom exit Sadako and Rika-chan had left through, their expressions a little distant and grim. We're all friends, isn't that right? I blurted out something strange, so Mion and Rena turned around with dubious expressions. I won't keep anything from my friends, so I'll tell you what I just heard a little while ago. Oh, don't. Oh, God, no. This is gonna turn into a free-for-all. I told them the stories I heard from Tomida-kun and Okamura-kun earlier about the tofu shop and how Sadako's uncle had apparently come back. All at once without letting them speak. And that's all I know. So if either of you knows anything, please say so. I've said everything I can. I ended my sentence firmly and looked into Mion and Rena's eyes in turn. Rena stared right back at me. Her eyes didn't falter. Without even opening her mouth, I could tell she wasn't hiding anything. Then our gazes turned to Mion. It's not like I was trying to keep it a secret or anything. Mion couldn't seem to endure our silent stares and began to talk timidly as if she was guilty of something. Oh, she probably knew, right? It's just, now that you've said something, Kei-chan, I guess I have to talk about it. Mi-chan, you know something? Well, I mean, I knew from the first day that Sadako's uncle had come back. That he just randomly showed up in Hinamizawa last Sunday. Why didn't you tell us that? I'm sorry. My angry shout caused Mion to flinch away, look down, and hang her head uncomfortably. Keiichi-kun, it's nothing to get angry about. You're scaring me-chan. Well, she scared me a lot as well, so... Sorry I shouted at you. I lowered my head in apology. Mion accepted it, collected herself, and continued. According to her, her uncle's relationship with his lover, whom he had been with in Okinomiya, had collapsed. Without anywhere to go, he went back home to Inamizawa. And on that Sunday, the day of the barbecue, her uncle ran into Sadako and brought her back to the house. See? I'm not gonna claim that I'm some genius at reading foreshadowing, but I guess I'm pretty good. Or maybe it was more obvious than I thought. Why did he bring her with him? Kind of funny going from Krizaya Protag being the most hard-ass, hilarious masculine guy to Keiichi, the Wimp King. True. He could use a bit of non-wimpiness. Because he's a good-for-nothing parasite. He can't even cook by himself, much less do any cleaning. How'd he find two women then? Like, he had his wife and he had a fucking fling. But that's... He brought Sadako-chan back to have her cook and clean? That doesn't look like it. I remember that she said she'd been cleaning the house when I met her back at the school gate. A moment later, the pieces fell into place, into the jigsaw puzzle of unease. And as for what the puzzle depicted, when I saw it from afar, I could see the answer clearly. Sadako was locked up at home and tormented into doing the housework. Those are the rumors. The fuck? If you knew that, why didn't you speak up? I nearly yelled that at Mion, but hastily stopped myself.
Michan, is that true?
I haven't seen it myself, so I don't know if it's true or not. Mion looked down again and, staring at the floor, grew quiet.
Just like last year?
Oh, okay, perfect. So if it happened again, then yeah, it's probably true. Like if it happened before.
Like when they lived with their mean uncle and his wife?
But this uncle is completely hopeless when it comes to housework, right? If Sadako's that important, then there wouldn't be any reason to torment her, would there?
Cage-kun, I don't know what grounds you have for saying that, but you shouldn't be so irresponsible.
Rena clearly and directly got mad at me. You don't know much about this, so don't talk as though you do. Yes, that's clearly what she meant. Fine, then do you know something, Rena?
I don't know anything either. I didn't know her uncle had taken her to the house until hearing it just now, but the situation is different from a year ago.
Yeah, because Satoshi's not there anymore, right? Oh, wait, does that make it worse? I thought Satoshi was some sort of wimp, but what if he wasn't? What if he was protecting Sadako and maybe the uncle got fed up with him and killed him or something, and that's why he's gone? She doesn't have her big bro to protect her anymore. Yeah, what if that's actually what happened and he wasn't a wimp that ran away? So what if her life is actually in danger now because she's alone with her crazy ass uncle? Well, there we go. Domestic abuse. We got it. The situation is different. What does that mean?
Satoshi-kun isn't here.
Satoshi really cared about his little sister. He always stuck up for her. Well, there we have it. Perfect. He was her shield, so that she would be affected just a little less by their mean aunt and uncle's fighting.
The mean uncle and Sadako-chan are the only ones living there now. Can't you imagine how stifling that must be, Cage-kun?
Was the aunt also one of the good people? She wasn't, right? She wasn't like holding back the uncle.
He only even came back because he broke up with the woman he was staying with. Do you think a person who came back for such an unpleasant reason would be able to treat Sadako-chan kindly?
No, the aunt was awful too. Yeah, she was, right? I don't really remember. We haven't heard a lot about her. She was right. It wasn't easy for me to imagine Sadako not being tormented. Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry too. I sounded like I was interrogating you, didn't I? How?
An awkward atmosphere floated among us. The three of us remained silent and just stared at the floor. Well. And now we go to club activities. Finally, we heard the principal's bell ring. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh fuck. Are you okay? Look, I never really thought about this. But this is a small ass school, right? It's an old something forestry building or something. Is the principal actually walking through the school halls with a bell every time it rings? This is not automatic. That sounds like such a shitty job. Every time a lesson's over, he's gonna go out of his office and ring the fucking bell. Poor guy. I can see why he's invisible. It's just a floating bell. Oh man. Moving through the corridor. That is so dumb, man. I love this. This is funny as hell. I want to see the anime real bad. If they don't show the principal ringing the fucking bell, I'm out. The teacher came back with Sadako and Rika-chan at her side. All right. We're starting afternoon class. Class president, please. Everybody stand up.
I'm sorry, how rude of me.
I couldn't read anything from Sadako's vaguely sheepish expression, but given the clouded look Rika-chan was wearing behind her, it was tough to laugh off the disquieting story I'd heard from Mion. No one can see him. Yeah, because he's invisible, man. That's how it works. Alright. First time in a while everyone's been here. Let's all have a roaring good time with the whole club. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, perfect. Indeed, in times like these, the best thing to do was obviously get rowdy and scheme against one another in a club activity.
Just what I was waiting for. Hey, Sadako-chan, let's play.
There was that game you liked, wasn't there? What was it again? It doesn't matter which. Tell me? Tell me. Mion laughed happily, took a bunch of games out of the club locker, and lined them up on the desks. I think that was the first time Mion ever let someone else decide on the game for her. I could tell she was being especially considerate to Sadako. That might not be the best idea. Thinking that whatever her circumstances, if we could just enjoy our time together as a group, that might be some comfort, some diversion. Sadako seemed to understand her feelings too, and smiled vaguely, though pleased. But her head slowly moved from side to side.
I'm very grateful, but your feelings are enough. There are many things I need to do, so...
Even Rika-chan hung her head in remorse. Hey, whoa. Seriously? All the club members are here for once and we're not playing anything? Desertion in the face of the enemy. What was the punishment game for it? What part of the club constitution was that in? Stop it, Mi-chan. We can't force her to play with us. Hi, this old man isn't trying to force her or anything. I just thought it would be more fun for sure if we did something exciting.
Really? I'm happy you feel that way. Don't worry, next we meet, you'll see. I'll get you all caught up in a gigantic trap.
Give me 1 second, I'm gonna let the cat out, and while I do that, I'll change the position of my table. Alright. I don't know why, but my mind is saying, why doesn't Deadpool just kill the uncle? I think that film has wormed itself into my brain. That's what these films do, bro. Next weekend, you're gonna have watched all of the Marvel movies. Sadako, while insulting us, still said she couldn't participate in the club today and apologized. She quickly put her things into her bag and pattered out into the hallway, disappearing. No fucking way, yes fucking way. It all happened in the blink of an eye. Sadako... Rika-chan stared lonesomely as her friend hurried home, unable to be part of club activities. Silence filled the classroom. Both the cheerful voices of our classmates in the schoolyard and the voices of the cicadas sounded like they were coming from some faraway world. This is boring. The silence was broken by Mion's bitterness as she began putting the games on the desk back into the locker. Everyone just stared absently at Sadako's seat, now empty. Rika-chan, maybe you could tell us about it now? Rena made as gentle a smile as she possibly could and softly spoke to Rika-chan. Even without hearing it from her, we pretty much knew the situation at this point. Sadako's uncle had broken up with his lover and come back home to Inamizawa, and he had taken Sadako back home and forced her to do all the household work. And all that had to be pretty rough on her. Thinking this was common knowledge to everyone, I skipped to the important part. Is it really bad? Watch all the Marvel films and you'll develop brain tumor? I'm honestly glad that I have not watched a single one of those. Maybe Mion and Rena wanted to ask the same thing. Nobody spoke. We all just stared, waiting for Rika-chan's reply. Rika-chan still didn't answer us. Isn't that the theme from the second part? I like that they keep the good themes in and still use them for appropriate situations. It would be kind of sad to have some really good music that just gets used in one single chapter. We were hoping for her to say no, but her silence was a bad enough sign. Last year, was it? It was like this when both her uncle and his wife were here, right? Some of the older Marvel movies were really cool, but most of them were mediocre. I don't know. Yeah. At the time, they were mostly just being caught between their aunt and uncles fighting. One of the ways we helped out was with the club by reducing her time home as much as we could, but he's making her do the chores now, so she can't stay at school either. Shit! Sadako's not a slave. Who do you think you are, ignoring your own inability to live properly and basically putting Sadako under house arrest? When you think about it, isn't this really strange? We'd need a lot of circumstantial evidence, but isn't this abuse? Can we notify the police or something? You're right. If we had evidence she was being abused, I think we could tell the police. And we can talk to the region's welfare people about this, can't we? Ren and I kept saying police, police, as though it were nothing, but Mia... Can you come back? Thank you. But Mion's response sounded like she thought we were a little naive. It's easy for you to say that. Stay on. Don't break. Deadpool movie I watched is considered one of the best Marvel films to come out in years, and that film is good at best. Oh, I know what I'm not watching then. Easy for you to say that. Have you thought about the risks of actually getting proof? What do you mean risks? I think it was 2 winters ago. We reported it to the Child Consultation Center. Oh, and it got worse. Shit, man. Oh, okay. This might not be fun. Like this might become extremely dark. We told them there was abuse happening and to do something right away. Huh? You did? What happened? A person came as soon as we called. She interviewed Sadako and Satoshi about what's going on. And then their uncle and his wife too. The fuck, dude? I can understand asking Sadako and Satoshi, but wouldn't it be not so good to talk to the aunt and uncle? Well, they have to. That's how it works. They said they based their judgment on what they heard from both sides. Great of them, wasn't it? So, what did they decide to do? Wait and see. What do you mean, wait and see? The uncle really studied up on this stuff. By law, you can't call it abuse unless assault or child neglect has been established. They poked and prodded Sadako and Satoshi a lot, but it never left any real marks on them. So they're professional abusers. They were pretty much eating 3 meals a day and had beds. And there weren't any recordings or something like that to prove they'd said or done anything to cause them psychological trauma. None of the villagers had ever actually seen them being violent either. No matter how mean you are, you wouldn't act so violent in front of other people. Nobody would. Then what happened? The welfare officer apparently went to visit on the same day each week for a while. I'm gonna restart that light for a minute. Just this is annoying as hell. Pulled out the cord. We're gonna wait for a minute and then plug it back in and hope that it works again. And pray, because that light was expensive as hell. Okay. Alright. Light's back for now at least. Let's see how long it takes to go away again. Shoot that cable, that'll fix it. She's been very fixated on chewing the cables of my soundbar lately because on the new desk she can lie on the cable tray, which is directly behind where I place the soundbar. So she has fuck you. So she has super easy access to that. Oh man. Okay. Let's see, maybe I can fix it from my phone. Through the app that controls the light, because I think that might actually be the problem. We haven't had a tech issue in a while. Not to this degree. Yeah, I think that might actually be what's causing the issue here, because it's saying that it doesn't have Wi-Fi. So what is it even working off? This is the sad music that plays when I go buy a new light on Amazon. Unable to find your device. Oh, now it found it. Okay. Let's turn it off. That works. Turn it on again. That also works. Let's change the brightness. By the way, this is the maximum brightness. How do I look? Holy shit, I look like Jesus. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna turn that back down. Let's see. There we go. Should be better. Okay, let's see how long it works. Let's pray for forever. Bro, look like it's getting swatted. You're too dirty to be cheesy. What the fuck? I'm not dirty. For all the Shion pictures he has, you don't know jack shit, brother. There's a reason why this is in the red. Goes the Shion folder. You're not gonna see that. All right. The aunt and uncle knew they were being watched, though, and didn't torment them in any way that would stand out. Of course, that wasn't the end of it. You mean they ramped up how malicious they were being? Mion sighed and nodded. Tales of Symphonia? I don't have Tales porn. Their aunt was really damn stubborn. She's one of the most spiteful people I've ever known. Apparently, she was doing some pretty disgusting things. Sadako was like a doll that did nothing but breathe by the end of it. So what? From that conclusion, does that mean they never should have contacted child welfare in the first place? Understand? Without proof of abuse so clear that anyone could see it, there's nothing we can do. In fact, it might even make the situation worse. We messed up pretty bad. After hearing that, even public organizations, the one thing they thought was dependable, couldn't do anything, everyone hung their heads. By the way, this is true. I've seen some child abuse cases play out, at least here in Germany, and it works kind of the same way. You need to have some real fucking solid proof. It's not just The kid can't just say, yeah, I'm being abused, please take me out of here. That's not how it works. So it's often not a good idea to call these people, because it might actually make things worse. You really gotta be careful about shit like that.
In other words, until we have clear evidence of abuse, we shouldn't notify anyone?
Well, I mean, basically, yeah. I considered Sadako's current situation. She was brought back to her house. It was a little difficult to call that abuse. She was being tormented and forced to do the chores. How she was being tormented would be the key, but without concrete evidence, it would be difficult to prove. If she had some kind of external injury, that would work, but as far as we could tell from today, she had nothing like that. And being forced to do all the chores, that was a bit weak too. There had to be better evidence that she was without a doubt being abused. I know. Her uncle had ignored Sadako's existence for a whole year and went to live with his lover in town. Didn't that fall under one of the conditions of abuse that Mion had mentioned? Child neglect? Yeah, but they're probably just gonna say he's back now, so it's fine.
Yeah. It's the perfect case of child neglect. What about that, Michan?
If her uncle weren't here now, could be recognized as child neglect, but he's living with her at the moment, isn't he? They were apart before, but if he said something like he had a change of heart and decided to live with her, then they might just wait and see again. Once we reported it, we would need to be absolutely sure they'd interpret it as abuse. Maybe we needed far more concrete evidence, lest we repeat last year's mistake.
It's sad. This means we need to sit quietly and wait for him to be violent towards Sadako-chan and leave a mark, don't we?
The only plan I could think of was, in the end, just watching and waiting. It left me in shock when I realized that it would be the same policy as that of the officials who had made the situation worse. As Mion said, reporting it to a public agency would be a gamble. If we're gonna pick a fight, it would have to be one we couldn't afford to lose. If we were gambling without enough money, without enough evidence, our defeat would be assured. If we took the time to amass enough money that we could be sure of victory, then that would mean pretending we didn't see Sadako's plight for a considerable amount of time. Sorry for bringing this up now, but how was Rika-chan able to live by herself? Rika-chan had lost her parents, if I recall correctly. From what I heard, she had no relatives either. She was forced to live on her own as a result, but her life was unfettered, free of restriction. If she could somehow grant that freedom to Sadako too... I mean, Rika-chan, you're living without any parents, right? Don't kids with no guardians have to go to orphanages and stuff?
Cage-kun, that's cruel.
I'm not saying it to be mean. I only asked because I thought maybe there would be a hint of saving Sadako. Rika-chan, sorry if I offended you. Rika-chan shook her head, not particularly disturbed.
Well, you see, I'm not actually a child. I'm just a little girl. Hey, I'm just a lolly character that's actually 30 years old and likes to dress up as a schoolgirl.
This is the twist I expect for her, by the way. I don't think we got two lolly characters. Like, age-wise. I think she's actually a grown-up.
Well, you see, it's because I'm considered the mayor's daughter.
The Rika game is going to be brain-melting, yeah. That one is... I'm so excited for that one, because she's actually the only character I'm really interested in the backstory of. Lolly cosplay. She just used a trash compactor to get the height correct. She wouldn't even... I know you don't understand that, but there are really, really short people. She could just be one of those. She's 145, so what? Let me explain. The mayor, Old Man Kimiyoshi, is Rika-chan's guardian. He got official permission from the governor of the prefecture. Huh. So you're adopted. No, not adopted. You can be someone's guardian without being in the same family. Oh, I get it. Rika-chan lives by herself, but by law, she's considered to live with the mayor, right? Oh, so they're just sweeping it under the rug? That she's living on her own? I mean, yeah, I know there are people in my extended family who are super short, but none that look like Rika. If someone in your extended family looked like an anime girl, you might be an anime boy. Yeah, basically. That's how Rika-chan avoids being sent to an orphanage. Actually, it would be child and family services, not an orphanage. Me, I don't understand the hard things. But anyway, she's right. Interesting you should say that, Mion. You can be someone's guardian even if they're in another family. Then shouldn't we have the mayor or someone else become Sadako's guardian, if only on paper? Well, that only works if you don't have any living family left, right? Or none that is willing to take you in. Then she'd be in the same position as Rika-chan, and she could go back to her old life. Too bad it won't work. I mean, her uncle is supposedly her guardian. Wait a minute, you lost me there. What's a guardian exactly? Oh, that's your character in Destiny, isn't it? I didn't know they had that. The 30-year-old thing would be dumb as hell unless it's like her brain being inserted into Rika. I mean, you do know that that might be the point. They got a very suspicious clinic over there with a lolicon doctor. Actually, now that I think about that, I don't want to think about that. In legal terms, a guardian and a parent weren't necessarily synonyms. So whoever was actually looking after her at home would be considered her guardian. Then her uncle isn't her guardian. He left Sadako by herself for so long. But if he insists he's her guardian, then that's it. It's been a few days since Sadako was taken back to her house. Her uncle's been paying for her meals since then, right? He is sort of looking after her, so he'd probably insist. And even though he abandoned her for a year, he'd already looked after her for the whole year before that. But the mayor doesn't have that kind of history. So then, if both the mean uncle and the mayor requested guardianship at the same time, the uncle would make more sense? No, but he'd have the better chance. The term guardian refers to the person actually caring for her, right? The uncle actually has a bed and food for her, but the mayor would just have his name. It wouldn't even be a contest. Then shouldn't the mayor just start caring for her for real? He'd be her guardian in name and reality if he did. Can we not just push this on the mayor? Maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he can't afford to. We don't know. Wait, oh yeah, the doctor was saying how looking at Sadako was refreshing and that he wanted to marry her. Yeah, exactly. What if he actually transplanted Rika's brain? So maybe, oh my god, maybe Rika is actually his wife, and he transplanted her brain into a child's body. Maybe Rika actually died with her parents that night, and the doctor took her corpse and Frankenstein her. Imagine if this turns out to be true. That would be the plot twist of the century. Actually, of 2 centuries ago, but still. No, decades, it's not century. Okay, centuries, right. His wife was dying of a terminal illness, and he, in a last-ditch effort, removed her brain and put it into a child's body. Yeah. But the child actually had brain damage, so it was morally questionable, but not wrong because he technically saved a life. That might lead to her uncle being desperate to take her back, but will stubbornly refuse him. It won't be that easy. Sadako is a growing girl, you know. It's not like giving someone a cat. You're asking him to take care of a real person. Then Coach. What about Coach? He just violated her. Coach, I don't know, he's got a lot of money, right? He even said it himself. If he's not her real father, Coach could become her guardian. Coach would... He would be great at taking care of her. Stop that. Stop thinking of Sadako like a pet. All you're doing is talking about pushing her onto someone else. You need to think more seriously about how much responsibility it is to take care of another human being. Did you ask him? Did you get an actual promise from him that he'd take Sadako under his care? No, I didn't. But Coach would definitely say yes. Ha! Well, fine. Even considering the 0% probability of Coach saying it was okay, then what? It still wouldn't work. He couldn't become a guardian all by himself. That's right. Coach, didn't he say it himself? He was alone, so he couldn't do it. Shit, what the hell? So he says he wants to marry her because she was originally his wife. Bro, that was uncalled for? What was uncalled for? Why is being single such a disadvantage in this society? I don't know why. I feel pretty advantaged. The Coach thing, but it's true. Then all you could do is marry into a wealthy family, couldn't you? Is there anyone that wealthy in Hinamizawa? I'm not sure. Isn't Keiichi? Yeah, no, it's true, but still. Say, it's not simple. It's hard to adopt someone, and you can't go into it thinking you'll push Sadako onto someone else just for a little while. You're being naive, Kei-chan. Shit, damn it, what the hell? I'm desperately thinking of how to save Sadako, and all you're saying is no, no. Don't you care about Sadako at all? Are you even worried about our friend one bit? What do you have to say for yourself? I hate Keiichi so much. He is such a fucking rat. Can someone slap him, please? Mion, please slap the shit out of that fucker. I don't want to play as this dude anymore. Yeah, I agree. Why the fuck is he constantly trying to talk about the other caretakers? It's weird. He is so irresponsible. And then has the gall to go off on other people for not doing what he wants them to do. This dude is a piece of shit. It's been a while since I actually disliked the main character in a video game, especially to that, like, actually disliked. Sometimes I don't care for them or something, but like, I literally don't want to play as him anymore. Keiichi should have been the one to be abused. I mean, he probably was as a kid. Otherwise, he couldn't turn out like that. Petition to replace Keiichi with Yuji. The game's writing would skyrocket. I mean, the problem is that Keiichi makes sense, right? It's not bad writing. It's infuriating and annoying, but it's not bad because Keiichi is essentially a sheltered as fuck kid. His parents both, I think they both work, right? His dad's a successful writer, so he's probably earning a ton of money. They're pretty well off. They were able to buy a house, one of the biggest houses in this town. He's never really had any problems in life. Everything he has is just given to him. He never had to work for anything or do anything. He never had to cook. Like, bro, he's what, 16? And he doesn't know how to cook a single meal. He almost set his fucking house on fire. This dude is the definition of a sheltered teenage boy. He has no idea about anything, but thinks he's the smartest person in the room, no matter into which room he treads. And that's how teenagers are. That's how a teenager would turn out if he was in that situation. Of course, not everybody would, but chances are they could. So yeah, Keiichi makes sense. But he has to be slapped. And I hope it's Oishi that does it. I hope Oishi at some point teams up with Keiichi in one of the arcs, like actually teams up and tries to solve the murders or something. And then Keiichi goes off on somebody, and Oishi is just like, Keiichi, can you turn around for a second? Look at me. And then he punches him straight in the face. Yuji would be so funny being put into this game because he would just straighten everyone into line and kick everyone's asses. Nobody would die. If the Grisaya protagonist got into this game, nobody would die. They would just all be happy. Yuji would be like, what? Every Watanagashi somebody dies? Not when I'm around. He'd set up the perimeter. He'd police the whole festival. And then Oyashiro-sama comes out because he couldn't kill anybody that night. And Yuji would be like, hey, you're the god here? What the fuck have you been doing? Do your job better. Go back into your weird little shrine and protect the people. Don't kill them. And then Oyashiro-sama would turn into a lolly because they'd be this small. That's... I didn't mean that, but it just won't be that easy, and it's not that difficult a problem. I hope you don't get mad at me for trying to voice him well when he talks like that, but I want to get the asshole across. We just need to have some rich people look after Sadako for a while, that's all. Right, what about your family, Mion? You always brag about how great it is being one of the 3 families or whatever, don't you? From what you've said, you must live in a gigantic house. My house? No, that won't happen. My grandma would never allow it. Then what about your relatives in Okinomiya? From what I heard, they're living in luxury themselves. There's plenty of shops your relatives manage in town too. Your family are basically millionaires, aren't they? No, that won't work. Going to Okinomiya is even more out of the question. My father, he'd never let it happen Oh, she has a dad? I thought he was dead. He never was mentioned before, was he? Hey. Normally, you act like some high and mighty bigwig, and now you're all being spineless? What the hell? Are you just gonna sit by and watch Sadako suffer? No, I don't, but... I mean, I want to help her as much as you, but that's a different story. How is it a different story? How can you be so cold-hearted? Your friend is in trouble. What are you if you don't rescue her? You're our president, our club president. Save her. Save her from this crisis. If you don't save her right now, you are not her friend. You are not even human. I don't know if you have any humanity left in you. Are you listening to me, Mion? This guy really needs to be slapped in the fucking... Cut off his dick. Jesus Christ, my emotions all exploded out of me, and I didn't even give her a chance to say anything in response. I just wanted to make Mion agree with me, even if I had to force her. If she did, Sadako's problems would be solved. If pushing her to solve this issue, then I'd push her as much as I needed to. Couldn't you just talk to your parents about taking her in? I mean, you're rich as well. When is Keiichi torture scene coming? I hope soon. Why aren't you saying anything anymore? I'm asking you, asshole. Well, say something, Mion Sonozaki. Me? Oh no, he made her cry. Bro. I feel so bad for this girl. Like, just imagine you wanting to help your friend and someone tells you you're the fucking worst. Like, just because she knows that she can't, that makes it even worse, right? She knows that she cannot help her, but she wants to, and she really wants to. Probably, if she could, she would easily do it. And now he's making it seem like it's her fault. Yeah, I agree. Completely out of line. That was disgusting of him. Jesus Christ. Higurashi isn't a game about murder. It's a social study about how much you can hate the protagonist of a game. Mion, looking down with a grim face, began sobbing. Her hands were clenched into trembling fists, and she rubbed her eyes to wipe away the tears. Was what I said actually that me? No. Why doesn't he take her in then? Yeah. That's what I said, man. No, KG, it's totally fine. How about you go on the street and talk to everybody like that? Why do you even have friends, bro? You don't deserve any of these people. This isn't the time to cry. We're in the gambling room now, and we have to do something to save Sadako. And as I thought that, Rena spoke, her voice incredibly calm and cold. Kage-kun, if Mei-chan's family won't work, then what if we look for another wealthy family? I know someone in Hinamizawa who lives in a nice big house. Yes! Thank you, Rena. Thank you. Who's that? Oh, come on. You've got a splendid family, and you're leaving it out of things? My family? My family is... your friends, right? Save her, Kage-kun. Mei-chan is cold-hearted after all. Since you're so considerate towards friends, you should lead by example. Just the three of you are living in that huge house, right? Then you've probably got plenty of spare rooms. You should just give a few of the empty ones to Sadako-chan, and then her worries would all be over. What's this? We're done already? That was pretty quick. Okay, great. Congratulations on solving the problem. Then we're done for today. I'm going home. Hooray! Hooray! Maybe I'll go treasure hunting. I haven't done that in a while. I was so worried about Sadako-chan until now that I didn't feel like going to play at all. I wonder what I'll find today. How? Say something, will you? Why am I the only one talking? Say something, you bastard! Are you listening, Keiichi Maebara? Even the cicadas seem to cower in fear. Bro, I got goosebumps. That was beautiful. That... holy shit, that was good. For once, the scary eyes are actually warranted. Holy shit, Rena. Cheers to you. If I could, I would... we just imagined that was alcohol, but I'm not allowed to drink alcohol on the stream, so... But cheers. You are the best. I will frame that. Jesus Christ. Rena, her shoulders bobbing up and down, and me, who had forgotten to breathe. Mion, whose face had come completely pale, and Rika-chan, who was keeping silent as if nothing had happened. The atmosphere in the classroom grew tight and stiff, and it petrified us where we stood. Rattle. The sound of the chair as Rena sat back down after having stood up finally allowed everyone present to take a breath. Rena had shown me just how much I'd heard Mion. Rena's scary. After a few moments, Rika-chan caught into the frozen air.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Rika-chan. Mi-chan, I'm sorry to you too. I don't have to apologize to you, do I, Cage-kun?
She's like, damn, I'm sorry for scaring you guys, but you fucker, you deserve that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being so unreasonable.
Were you saying all that to me before? You said it while glaring at Mi-chan, so I totally thought you were talking to her.
Rena had such strength that you wouldn't have imagined it normally. All I did was spout terrible things as a wave of violent fury passed over me. I couldn't contend with her. Mion, I'm sorry. I lost my cool. Come to think of it, I didn't understand what had gotten me that riled up. I thought of myself as Sadako's Nini, so I only had good intentions. That I'd think about it a little harder than everyone else, and yet, uh, mm, it's okay. You were worrying with everything you had, but all I was saying was that nothing would work, so I'm sorry. I did something wrong, too. Mion rubbed away the tears at the corners of her eyes with her fists and apologized as well. We bowed our heads to each other and looked down without glancing at the other. Okay, down we go. Well, that was something. Rena, best girl? I think she just took that spot. Definitely need to sit down after that scene. I feel like I need to lay down. Rena has become best character of this series, honestly. I really, really wonder what was going on with Rena in the first game. Like, if she was actually being crazy, or if Keiichi just imagined all of that and she was being totally normal. I'm really looking forward to chapter 6 because I think that's like the answer arc to the first game, if I got that right. Someone, I don't know who, heaved a sigh. She used to think she was whatever, but she's really started to become the voice of reason and genuinely an awesome girl. It's true. Sadako being tormented had been known about since last year. How had the tragedy back then saved Sadako? How had they brought it to an end? Oh no. Is that where this is going? Keiichi is gonna convince himself that Satoshi was the one who killed the aunt. Fuck that word. And then ran away. And he's gonna do the same thing, right? He's gonna go and kill her uncle. And sacrifice himself so Sadako can live peacefully again. I hope he's not gonna go completely crazy and kill everybody. Like, if he had his signature baseball bat in this discussion right now, I think he would have bashed Mion's head in. This is another thing about Keiichi. He is he has anger issues, like seriously, and he can't control it. In the end, nobody could do anything. All they could do was bear it patiently and wait for those agonizing days to end. That's right. The one who brought an end to those terrible days was some crazy drug addict nobody knew. On the night of Watanagashi last year, their mean aunt had been beaten to death, but it hadn't been done to save Sadako or Satoshi. Right. It really was just a coincidence. But what if it wasn't? What if, like, Mion or her family covered up the murder. Because Mion was friends with Satoshi, right? Maybe he did it and he came to Mion and told her. And then she covered it up. Like, they're a Yakuza family. They gotta have a few drug addicts that are just going around town and are known for being shitty persons that they could easily sacrifice, right? Just conveniently place them at the crime scene or something, and then there you go. You've got a cover story for Satoshi, and then he leaves town. I think I'm onto something. I don't think Satoshi's dead. Yeah, your theory sounds pretty realistic. Yeah. Sadako's friends, who needed to do something for her most of all, could do nothing. The incident may have been a tragic one, but from Sadako's viewpoint, it was nothing less than a miracle. Yes, a miracle. A miracle one could only wait for. Is waiting all we can do? Not for evidence of abuse, not for something that minor. Huh? Wait, for what? A miracle. No one made fun of me for using such a crazy word. We couldn't come up with any solution, so it was the only thing we could do. We're powerless. That one word Mion dropped was the finishing blow. It was hot. My body was sticky with sweat. The worst month. June. Is that true? Like, around here, the end of July and August are the worst and hottest part of the season. Well, Think said that before, and I agree. I kind of get why this chapter is known for being the most depressing. In New Zealand, the end of July and August are frigid wastes. I mean, you know you don't count. You're not normal. I walked forward quite a ways, then turned right where the rice fields ended. I'd never come here before, so I had no idea where to go. I got lost several times, so I may have taken quite a long way around. Maybe I should have gone back and got my bike first. It would have made everyone else worry if I'd asked them. So I asked one of our other classmates where Sadako's actual house was. Oh, he's going to meet the uncle? Wait, people said that this game is a bit quicker than the first two. So is this already the end? No, I just live on the opposite side of the world. Yeah, that's why you don't count. That house was originally her family's, apparently, not their uncle and wife's. And his wife's. Their house had been bigger, so they had taken it for themselves. Right here. Several houses, all in a line. Over there? I was visiting Sadako's house, but didn't particularly intend to meet her there. I didn't mean to spy on the enemy, her mean uncle either. Maybe I just wanted to be a little closer to her. As her Nini. Pretty words, but I didn't know if they were true. If what Tomita-kun and the others told me was right, it'd be this house? When I recognized it, my feet grew heavy. What did I come here for? My motive for coming here was absurd. All they can do is provide her as much support as they can from the outside so they aren't fully powerless. Yeah, but I don't think they get that. Like, people usually only see one approach to solving a problem. If you really cannot do anything about a problem directly, you can still do something to make the problem less worse. Less bad. When Mion had said at the end that we were powerless, it made me sort of frustrated. I just wanted to do something, anything other than waste the days away praying for a miracle. That's what made me come here. But that was all. Even if I were to witness her uncle actually tormenting Sadako, what could I do? Would I act like a comic book hero, punch the guy in the face, and take Sadako away with me? And then live together somewhere far away? That was ridiculous. Yeah, you can't even cook. I'm powerless. Also, nobody's saying that Sadako would even take the chance to run away, right? Like, what? Imagine if that happened. Imagine Sadako just says no. Like, he punches her uncle, and she says no. She says, no, I don't want to go with you, Keiichi. Get off. Why are you doing that? I don't want that. You never asked me. Personally, I'd be offering if she wants to stay over at my place to get away from her uncle, and also let her know that if she ever needs to get it off her chest, she can talk to me. She can't go over to her place. She was literally locked inside for 3 days to clean the house. I don't think her uncle would just let her stay over at another person's house. As though they were saying that if I couldn't do anything and wouldn't do anything, then I should go back home. I heard a car approaching, so I got out of its way. But the car stopped right behind me, its horn honking shortly once. Annoyed, hadn't I gotten out of the way, I looked behind me, and a familiar face was looking at me out of the driver's seat window. Is it Oishi? Okay, my bad for getting the situation wrong. No, oh. Coach. What kind of voice did I give him again?
Hello, my son. How unexpected to meet you all the way out here. You live nearby?
Me being here wasn't normal. Just as I considered somehow giving him the slip, I noticed Sadako sitting in the passenger seat. Sadako? Oh, not that again. Why is Coach pulled up outside Sadako's house? Probably gave her a drive home, right? Sadako got out of the car and began unloading a lot of groceries from the trunk. So see, he's looking out for her as much as he can.
I happened to run into Coach on my way back from shopping. He said he'd bring me home, so I accepted his offer.
She wouldn't have been able to carry all those groceries on her bike.
As Coach spoke, he pulled Sadako's bike from out the back seat where they put it. The grocery bags were big, and there were 4 of them. They all seemed to be packed full and very heavy. Those bags. 7 smart? Delayed message read. I typed that before you saw Sadako? Okay. Hey, isn't that a little far to go by bicycle? I looked at the bags and saw they were filled to the brim with sake bottles, snacks that you'd eat with sake, and boxes of cigarettes. How's she even allowed to buy those? Their weight was one thing, but their contents were nothing less than luxury items.
I made it thanks to Coach. He helped me out. It was a little difficult going up those hills.
Sadako gave Coach a smile filled with gratitude. But it was incredibly awkward and even heartrending. Sadako, these groceries aren't for dinner tonight, are they? No shit.
Of course not. I do not drink sake, and I hate snacks. Of course I don't smoke either.
He made Sadako go to a distant store by herself on her bike. So she could buy dumb shit like this? And what was the uncle doing right now anyway? He must have been working up a good sweat at this very moment if he needed to send Sadako out by herself, right? If not, then how much had Sadako suffered for no reason? I hadn't intended to voice my feelings, but they may have made it to my face. Coach might have noticed because he clapped me on the shoulder. Just then, is he gonna have a Sprite? Just then, One of the house windows clattered open, and the face of a vulgar man, the very sight of which made me immediately avert my eyes, emerged from within it. There were no self-introductions necessary. My gut told me that this was the uncle in question. The first thing out of his mouth should have been words of gratitude for Sadako. Maybe Coach bought it for her. Yeah, but I doubt that he'd have sent Coach to buy his stuff. That makes no sense. Right? It's not like he sent both of them.
Sadako! You left the heat for the sake on for the sake on when you left, you half-wit.
I'm sorry, but you told me to go right away.
Shut up! You've gone and ruined it, and it was the good stuff too. What will you do about it?
I'm sorry.
Sadako miserably apologized over and over, bowing again and again. She could be perfectly described as a small animal. I had no idea what was happening. Sadako finished shopping. For all this heavy stuff that it wasn't even for dinner, she only managed to come back because she ran into Coach and he drove her home. If she hadn't been found by him, she'd surely still be by herself, panting and moaning, pedaling her bicycle up that steep hill. What was with those words, those horrible, sleazy words that he said to Sadako? In what country's dictionary did it tell him to say such things? To a young girl who just finished shopping. My anger, of course, wouldn't reach him. The uncle displayed no interest in me, instead shouting at Coach. And I'm saying maybe Coach saw her at the store and helped her buy the 18+ cigarette groceries. Does 1980s Japan not have legal age limits for buying substances? I don't know. The only thing I can really imagine is that since this is such a small village, they probably just would give it to her, since they probably know that she's shopping for the uncle. Like, if they all knew what was going on but couldn't really help, they at least probably wanted to sell her the stuff so she wouldn't get in trouble for not being able to buy it. Because this guy sure as hell wouldn't understand if she came back empty-handed, right?
Oh, if it isn't Dr. Irie. Hello. Why don't you come on inside too? We're in the last round, so you can get in right away. 100 yen per 1,000 points, and anything goes.
No, I'll pass, thank you. I just ran into Sadako-chan and gave her a lift is all. I'll be leaving now.
Aw, nah, come play around. Got a lot of money, yeah?
I didn't even understand what her uncle and Coach were talking about. But I knew one thing for sure. None of what he'd just said had been to thank Sadako in any way.
Sadako, could you bring us the damn snacks? And start getting those beers chilled too. Go get us some of the cold ones from the fridge.
Like, is that like horse racing or sports betting? They're probably playing some private gambling stuff, right? Poker or something.
Taichan, you're so harsh on her. She looks so sad. You should take better care of her. This is how I gotta treat her. She's been like this since she was with my bro. Spoil her, and she ain't gonna listen to a damn thing you say. Shit.
Whatever, it's your draw, Taichan. Tsubaki-san declared Riichi to... Oh, they're playing... Okay, they're playing Mahjong.
Sorry. What? You and Riichi again, Tsubaki?
It looked like it wasn't just her uncle. Some of his friends were over. Yeah, playing Mahjong. The game of the devil. I like it. Hey, wait. What was he... No, what were they doing? flinging rude words left and right, making Sadako go shopping for your beer. What were they doing?
Both friends came from town, and they're playing mahjong. He told me to prepare dinner for them as well.
Look at that weak smile, man. What the hell? Mahjong? He called his friends over for mahjong? They were too busy playing, so they sent Sadako to buy them a crabload of booze from a faraway store. And the first thing he said to her was how she left the gas on? What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? What does this guy think he's doing? Who could get lost in some dumb game of mahjong and send Sadako to buy all this stuff? Even though Coach was listening, he pretended he wasn't. There was a line of heavy-looking shopping bags lined up on the ground next to the trunk. Maibara-san, you help too, please. You're a boy. You get to carry this heavy one. Coach! You're gonna let this slide? This is completely... Coach pretended he hadn't heard that violent outburst either. When I thought about it later, his reaction might have been the best thing he could do in that situation. My theory is that the uncle used to be a good, loving uncle, but then he played mahjong for the first time and he started to become more and more lazy and twisted into fray. That's not what mahjong does to you, bro.
I'll carry 2 of them myself. Come on. Help us carry them, please.
The bags were packed to the brim with bottles of sake and bar snacks. They were so heavy and so filthy, so unfair. They weren't just heavy in terms of weight. They made me feel mortified. Nothing could have been heavier than that.
Kite-san, there's no need to push yourself. I'll carry it.
Sadako mistook my biting back the humiliation as grimacing under the weight and offered to help. Stupid. Don't underestimate me. Sadako had never looked down on my physical strength in the slightest.
Ouch, I'm sorry for you too. It must be heavy.
No, not at all, answered Coach, smiling vaguely. Coolly. But I, and I alone, knew. Coach was an adult, so he just knew how to keep his feelings from showing. There was even more anger than I was feeling, burning deep in his eyes.
Wow, it is heavy.
Shit! It wasn't very far to the doorstep of Sadako's house, but the bag squeezed my palms and started leaving red marks. Fury welled up in me, and the back of my throat stung. But even if it all came gushing out, it wouldn't solve anything. So, just tightly gritting my teeth was as much as I could do.
Really, thank you so much. Both of you. You really helped me there.
After we carried them back to the back door, Sadako said that was enough. Occasionally, we'd hear the repulsive laughing of her uncle and his friends from within, and my insides would seethe. I knew they weren't ridiculing us, and that was why it made me so mad. They made Sadako shop for all this heavy, selfish stuff, then ignored her and laughed amongst themselves as they pleased. It was deeply aggravating. Of course, Coach had to have felt the same way. But if he accidentally let his feelings slip onto his face, it only caused Sadako more worry. He knew all that and spoke coolly as if to say he didn't care.
Not at all. I'm happy I could be a bit of help to you. If there's anything else I can help you with, please tell me.
Yes, I really am happy you feel that way.
That he feels that way. Those words were sad. Sadako herself, sad and resigned, that we could only help her so much. But she was right. No matter how much Coach or I want to help Sadako, this was as much as we could do. I felt absolutely ashamed at not having the power to help her any more than this. Burning, boiling emotions were bubbling up within me and rising into my throat. Trembling all over, I almost started to cry from my fury. Me too. If there's anything I can do to help, I'll help you whenever you need. So, hang in there. I wanted to at least give her those trite words, saying that I'd help her whenever she wanted.
Yes. Thank you very much. I'm happy just that came all the way here when you didn't need to.
Sadako seemed to have guessed what I was doing in a place like this, when my house was in the opposite direction from school.
All right. You should get going. They're drunk right now, so there's no telling when they'll get mad, what they'll get mad at you for.
She felt guilty getting us involved after we'd helped her, because she wanted to be the only one to suffer this misfortune. That's how it looked, and it hurt. I handed my supermarket bag over to Sadako, and then I noticed the back of Sadako's hand. There was something that looked like a bruise. Hey, Sadako, what the heck is that bruise? I knew as much as anyone else how transparent that sounded. I didn't need to hear it from Sadako to know how this bruise came to be.
I just slipped on the stairs and hit it a little. Please pay it no mind.
You're lying. Coach nudged me in the back. And then he put his index finger to his mouth to chide me for being so loud. Oh, is that the strategy? That the uncle is getting careless and they're waiting for him to actually cause some damage that is something she can't talk her way out of, or he can't talk his way out of? Something I'm noticing about this game is these scenes are described very differently to other games because of Keiichi's perspective. Like, him being like, how could he do this over and over, shows that he's completely not used to this. Just goes to show the law ain't perfect. Yeah.
Really, thank you so much. Until tomorrow. I hope we can see each other at school.
That's not what I'm talking about. I asked you how you got that bruise on your hand. If Keiichi messes this up, and now that's gonna happen, right? What? The evening glow finally got to a point where I could see the other, concealed, oval-shaped bruises and traces of swelling on her neck and her legs and other places too.
I fell down the stairs.
The very moment my violent, rampaging emotions were about to burst their way out of my throat, I found my mouth being tightly clamped down on. Keiichi's gonna mess it up. Yeah, I think Coach noticed. Holy shit. Coach was pressing down on my mouth from behind, wrapping around me tightly with his hands. Because of that, I couldn't say anything. I could only groan, which I did. That was all I could do. I needed to expel all this magma sitting deep inside me, because otherwise I'd surely explode into a million pieces that very moment. So I groaned. I groaned from my mouth, from my whole body, while heat fell in drops from my eyes. I groaned and groaned. I groaned to the point of exhaustion. I wrung absolutely everything out of myself. Even having lost my voice, I was still ringing it all out.
I understand how you feel. I really do, Maebara-san. Please, please just endure it for now. Please, I'm asking you, Maebara-san.
Endure it for now? And then what, huh? What would happen to her, to Sadako? Her body and mind were wounded, and she was being made to suffer like this. Can you not even let me howl in vain at it? Is that it, Coach? Are we this powerless? So powerless that we can't even fucking scream from the bottom of our hearts? The voices of the Higurashi made me calm down. I didn't know how long it had been. Sadako abruptly gave a slight bow.
Thank you very much, Cage-san.
Sadako,
You look a lot like my real Nini just now. My real Nini may not be here anymore. But I have another Nini named Cage-san.
yeah, you got it. I'm your Nini, and when you're in pain, I'll help you no matter what. Your Nini will rescue you for sure. Satoshi Hojo, you fucking idiot. Not now, then when? Sadako, she's never been in more pain in her life. Her Nini doesn't save her now, then when will he? Why did you run away? Why did you abandon her? Why did you leave Sadako behind? You don't have any right to call yourself Sadako's Nini. I won't run away.
Huh?
I definitely won't run away. I won't run away and abandon you like Satoshi did. No way. I will not abandon you. Slip. What kind of dialogue is this? Bro's groaning like fire. Dude, I don't think that's a smart thing to say because either he really didn't abandon her or at least Sadako doesn't want to believe he did. So, saying that, I know you're trying to make yourself look good and maybe trying to make her feel better because you're reliable, but talking down on her brother is maybe not a good idea. She's just gonna cut you off, bro. Slip. Tears trickled down from Sadako's eyes. And then she narrowed her eyes into a smile.
Goodbye, Nini.
Sadako took her right hand and awkwardly waved to me.
I'll be alright. My Nini now helped me so much. So I'll be okay. I'll do my best. Until tomorrow, I'll be okay. So, for today, this is goodbye.
There was no way that I could say bye, see you tomorrow. And then, from inside the house, came a throaty, disgusting voice.
Sadako, could you bring us the snacks already?
Okay, Nini. Going already. I'll be fine now. Hurry.
Let's go, Maebara-san. Staying any longer than this would be a bother to Sadako-chan.
Ouch. Nini's house is a little far away. I'm sorry to ask you this, but could you take him home?
Yes, I'll do that. Coach grabbed me by my collar, and with strength I couldn't have imagined him having, started dragging me away. And I, unable to oppose him, started getting farther away from Sadako. She waved her hand to us, expression still dark, and disappeared through the back door. Well, ain't this fucked up? So my guess is that Coach probably already called for uh call um the authorities, but he doesn't want the uncle to know because last time they came announced, right? So they had time to prepare. And my guess is that he wants them to come unannounced and catch him by surprise. Like, if the authorities were with them right there, I think they would have had pretty good proof of what was going on. But if the dude knew that, like the uncle knew that someone was coming to check on them, then he wouldn't invite his friends over and stuff, right? So that's kind of my guess of why he stopped Keiichi from going berserk. Coach got into the car first, then turned around on the narrow path and brought the passenger's side door around for me. I know how you feel so well it hurts. No, I think I understand it even more than you. But right now, just for now, please endure it. She understood exactly how you feel, so please endure it. If you don't, I know already. I'm sorry. Thank you for before. I meekly got into the passenger seat. The car accelerated quietly, and Sadako's house grew farther and farther away in the rearview mirror. We made a wide turn, and then I couldn't see her house anymore. I think you stepped a bit out of line. You could say that. Is your house that far away? In the other direction from the school, isn't it? I didn't bother to reply. I would have been hard-pressed to give him an answer as to why I was at Sadako's house. Well, if you're being driven home, you should maybe tell the person driving where you live, because if you don't, they're just in a super awkward position where they don't know where to even go. Coach didn't say anything more either. For a while, the two of us were silent, the only sounds from the gravel spraying over the road as we drove. I remembered how Rena said things were different than last year. At the time, she had Satoshi with her. Satoshi protected Sadako, so that less of the sparks fell onto her. But now Satoshi isn't here. Yes, that's the unfortunate truth. Coach seemed to understand what I really meant when I said that. It's a terribly sad, cruel story. There's a limit to our resolve, our efforts, and our insistence. It sounded like an excuse, but he was right. Even if Coach and I wanted to be people Sadako could depend on, that was all. It ended at the front door. No matter how much I shouted that I would be her Nini, no matter how much I shouted that I wouldn't abandon her, and no matter how much Sadako called me Nini, I couldn't do any more than that. Where on earth could Satoshi have gone? Right. Satoshi was another story. Her actual brother, Satoshi, he was in a position to protect her far, far better than we ever could. That was the cold, sad truth of the massive gulf between Satoshi and us. I wonder what he's been doing lately. Satoshi left home. I didn't know why. Maybe it was because of Yashiro-sama's curse, or he disappeared or something. In any case, he wasn't beside Sadako now. At the time, Sadako needed him to protect her most. He wasn't here. Why isn't he here? Sadako needs him now more than ever. A lot of people talk about Oyashiro-sama's curse. The only thing I can say is that he ran away. One of my friends said that one day he just never came back. He ran away without even leaving so much as a note for his sister. Satoshi-kun had been doing part-time jobs a lot. At the time, Sadako-chan really wanted this huge stuffed animal.
It ended up costing a lot, so he was doing all sorts of part-time jobs in order to afford it. He felt so strongly about it. Everyone was whispering about how he at least wanted to get his sister a nice birthday present, since she was being made to live such a pitiful life with her uncle and wife. In the end, he didn't use his savings for a birthday present for Sadako. Satoshi-kun disappeared, and the police looked long and hard. They found out that Satoshi-kun had withdrawn all his savings himself on the day he left. After checking all over, they began to think that maybe he used his savings to go to Tokyo. Tokyo? For what? Again, all I can say was that he ran away. He saved up all that money so he could run away? He was that selfish? But how could he just leave Sadako behind? If he was going to run away anyway, he should have brought Sadako with him. Even now, Coach was still calm. He wasn't trying to pour any oil on the fire of my anger at all. He just waited until my anger naturally subsided. After listening to gravel being crushed under the wheels for a little while, Coach spoke abruptly. Please understand, Sadako-chan left behind arrived at the same conclusion. I'm a burden on my brother, and that's why he abandoned me. He didn't take her with him when he left. How terrible must Sadako have felt, being betrayed by the brother she loved so much. Is that why she cried when he said he wouldn't abandon her? But Sadako-chan was a very strong person. Of course, she had the support of close friends too. That was how she regained her smile. I recalled how Sadako had spoken of Satoshi so brightly when I was eating dinner with her and Rika-chan a few days ago. At the time, I didn't think any more of it than how pleasant their sibling love had been. But now that I did think about it, I realized it was like she was peering into the distance, from atop a pile of tragic perseverance. She said Satoshi-kun will come back for sure, and that when he did, she wanted him to see how she was no longer a burden. Sadako isn't a burden. She's way better at day-to-day living than me, and she can do pretty much anything. I mean, she might fall behind Rena or Rika-chan in certain aspects, but she's way more of an adult than most people. That's the result of her having worked so hard since she didn't know when Satoshi would come home. Her efforts are so painful. While she lived with Rika-chan, while Rika-chan taught her how to handle everything flawlessly, also that she could welcome back Satoshi at any time, so that she could show him she wasn't ashamed. So, when is Satoshi going to come back? I asked Coach, but knew he wouldn't be able to answer. In any case, Satoshi ran away. He left Sadako and ran away from Hinamizawa. Someone said that when you leave Hinamizawa and run away, Oyashiro-sama's curse gets you, right? Then that made sense. Satoshi running away and his disappearance, that would obviously mean people thought it was the curse, right? And they could smile, as though it were his own fault, as though he got what he deserved. Hey, Oyashiro-sama, whoever you are. Satoshi didn't vanish because he ran away. You demoned him away with your curse, didn't you? That's not what happened? Then I won't forgive you. When did Satoshi run away? The night of the Watanagashi festival last year, when their aunt was killed by that deviant. It was a few days after that, on Sadako-chan's birthday. Oh shit! Brother, are you serious? On her birthday? Fuck. This kid had the worst fucking life ever. He's what, like 10? and she went through more than pretty much any adult. On her fucking birthday, really? On Sadako's birthday? Fuck was that? Bang. I slammed my hands on the dashboard in front of me with all my might. Don't do that to a stranger's car. Satoshi, of all the days, he could have chosen to run away. Their aunt just died a few days before, didn't she? All your days of suffering were about to end, weren't they? You were just about to start thinking about a new life, weren't you? It's wrong to be happy about someone dying, but for Sadako and her brother, her birthday had come at a critical turning point. Their mean uncle had fled town, and the siblings would be left alone. They should have been able to be happy about that on Sadako's birthday. Sadako was probably waiting for her brother to return the whole time. Waiting for her brother to return when he never did. Waiting with bated breath for her brother to return. Her hopes and dreams of a new life to come growing ever larger. But no matter how long she waited, he didn't come back. He didn't even contact her. Sadako trembling in anticipation of a great present. Just when would she have to face the cold, terrible truth? Satoshi, you fucking idiot. Yeah, this guy really does repeat himself a lot. I just thought the exact same thing. I mean, I kind of like this, the idea of building a sentence by, like, making it have a stronger impact by repeating the same sentence, but adding stronger and stronger vocabulary to it. But if it happens like 5 times in one scene, I'm not a fan. We are linked. Are we? Really? I don't know, man. Is it? Have we gone that far? I could feel my blood rising to my head in my anger at Satoshi. I was frustrated. I was aggravated. I couldn't forgive him. Sadako still respected and adored her brother, and yet he so heartlessly betrayed her. Such a person wouldn't just come back now when he was most needed. Yes, no one would protect her. Not even her real brother, Satoshi. So when she started to see you as her Nini, I was happy. Huh? I pray for Sadako-chan's happiness as well, but I have a position in society and a job to do every day. I have little time that I can devote to Sadako-chan, but you're different. You go to school with her, and you're closer to her and Satoshi-kun in age. I know you think you can only do so much, but you're in a position where you can give Sadako-chan a hand much better than I can. So, I want you to go to help her enough for the both of us. That's what I wish for. But that's... Coach, you could... Of course, with my job skills, there are plenty of things only I can help her with. But in the same way, there are things only you can do for her. What I want to say is, we should both perform in every way we can. Was that a little too complicated? Coach added that, but I shook my head in response. When I heard him say he had job skills, it reminded me that he was an adult in a different position from all of us. Maybe I should ask him about it. Oh, Coach, do you know a lot about laws? No, I know even less than the average person. Why? Thought back to when I argued with Mion and the others about Sadako. Our children's argument had only left us with the conclusion that we had to wait and see. But what would an adult think? What was it? Child welfare law? You could say visual novels usually do that, but to a lesser extent. And I also think a bit of repetition is helpful. Personally, if they ever really bring things up again or repeat, I can find it easy to forget. If they never, okay. Yeah, but I agree it's a bit much in this game. I was
I was actually thinking of writing the review for this series in the same style, being a very annoying script to listen to. Hey there, Joe. No, she's not dead yet, but she looks like she is. She also got they've got a whole domestic violence thing going around. That sounds amazing. I don't know if that would actually be amazing. As an emergency measure to secure the safety of a juvenile, they can force him or her to separate from the parents. They can do that? So then we could rescue Sadako from her uncle right away. Sadako-chan might not want that. Unless the person being abused wants shelter anyway, it doesn't go that far. Sadako doesn't want it? That's what I said like an hour ago, bro. That's literally what I said. That she probably wouldn't want it because I think she feels some sort of guilt. Like, I think that the uncle ingrained into her that she has to take this this abuse, that is her own fault. So I think if they actually did something in terms of child welfare, she would refuse. She would just lie like she did. She would say she fell down the stairs or something. Joe, you missed the drunk uncle domestic abuse scene. Good for you. I don't think it's good that he missed that because, I mean, sure, it was hard to read, but it's integral to the story. It's common for abuse victims to feel conditioned to it. See, that's what I mean. So I don't think reporting it would really help a lot. Sadako doesn't want it? Why? Coach didn't answer me. I didn't know why he didn't. It was clear as day that Sadako's uncle was being violent and treating her like a slave. So then why? I clamped down on my frenzied emotions and waited intently for Coach to answer. But he never did. It wasn't like he was pretending he hadn't heard me. If I had to say, it was more like he wanted to explain but couldn't put it into the right words. Sadako-chan probably thinks of this abuse as a trial. A trial? This isn't some weird religion we're talking about. You might know this, but Satoshi-kun always looked out for Sadako-chan. She always relied on him, almost as though she was utterly dependent on him. I'd known for a while that Satoshi had always protected Sadako from their aunt and uncle, but that was his duty as an older brother, not something to worry about. I think that may have traumatized her. Maybe she figured that depending so heavily on her brother had made him hate her. And for Sadako, the current situation was a retelling of the story of a little over a year ago. But this time, Satoshi wasn't here. If she wants to overcome this trial by herself without relying on anyone else, and that if she doesn't grow strong, then Satoshi-kun will never return. She thinks something like that now. Or so I believe. Now that he mentioned it, Sadako had never said a word about how hard it had been before. I figured she was being threatened not to talk about it, but I talked with everyone and we were wondering we should report it to the Child Consultation Center. I have heard that a social worker was visiting Sadako-chan last year. Yes, in the end they decided to wait and see, and we thought maybe that made her get tormented even more. That was... Apparently, Sadako-chan reported it herself, and as a result, the abuse worsened, but was just kept out of sight. She was under even more torment, and the burden on Satoshi-kun for protecting her rose considerably. Huh? Could Sadako... She wouldn't be thinking it's her own fault for reporting it, would she? Coach nodded silently. Sadako-chan would probably either hate it if you suggested reporting the abuse or feign courage and say you didn't need to. And even if you reported it in secret, she'd probably insist to the social worker that she wasn't being abused. Sadako always acts tough and doesn't readily admit defeat, so I could only imagine that easily. And the Child Consultation Center has enormous authority in these matters.
They can take emergency measures without needing any permission from the court or the concerned child. If the abuse was known to the public, they could forcibly shelter her even if she denied it. Wait, they could? For Sadako-chan, that would probably mean losing. This isn't about winning or losing. It's real life. Sadako, she's back on topic. After they place her under their protection, she would be sent to a child care institution or the like. She would basically be living there, so it would mean moving away. And with the change in residence would come a change in schools too. That changing schools, it has to be done. That's what it will take for her to be safe. Sadako-chan understands all those things. All the more reason for her not to want it. Why? Because Sadako-chan's reason for living is to wait at that house for Satoshi-kun to return. That's kind of dumb. Isn't it? Like, wouldn't she just, like, look, if Satoshi came back to that house and he found that Sadako wasn't there anymore, he could just ask people where she moved, right? So I don't know. This is very conditional writing. She was a husk, an empty shell after being abandoned by her brother. How did she find her reason to live? Try looking at it from Sadako-chan's point of view rather than your own. I feel like he was trying to confuse me with that hard-to-understand, roundabout way of talking so unique to adults. The point was that I couldn't do anything Sadako wanting. That I couldn't do anything about Sadako wanting to stay in that house. And that I should watch until she gives in. In the end, no matter what I said, Coach himself was saying to wait and see. I mean, it's dumb, but it's understandable. The brain ain't always logical, and she is probably scared he wouldn't find her. I also think she's too scared to leave the town she loves and his friends in. That makes more sense. I don't understand. What? If I feel that Sadako is really in danger, I will report it without asking anyone's opinion. She might not be happy with the result, and she might hate me for it. But I believe that will ultimately be what brings Sadako happiness. But are you in any position to decide that for her? Just because you've known her for a few weeks and hit it off with her? Coach turned to me and gazed fixedly into my eyes. Don't do that while driving. It was written all over his face. He was shocked at what such a young kid had said. Why would you go that far? Coach, no, rather normal adults might not have understood. So I taught him the creed and the values that I believed in. Sadako is my friend. And I'm Sadako's Nini. Isn't that enough of a reason? I stared at him with a will strong and unbreakable as steel as his eyes betrayed a tiny bit of unrest. No, of course that's enough. We were silent for a little while until finally Coach said only that. Didn't we make a promise? I'm sorry. What? That we weren't ever going to let Sadako cry. We made a vow on that day of the barbecue party. I didn't think about it hard at all, but Coach and I still made a promise that we wouldn't ever let Sadako cry. Coach gave a dry grin of regret, immediately apologizing for not remembering. One way or another, when he grinned like that, it made me think that his enthusiasm for Sadako was a tiny bit smaller than mine. He lightly hit the brakes, making a skidding noise, and my whole body suddenly fell forward. That's unhealthy. I get what they mean well. I get that they mean well, but people are gonna cry. It's a... Bro, it's...
This is not literally. It's a figure of speech.
Could that be your house there? All right, Maibar-san would live at the Maibar residence, wouldn't he? Before I knew it, we were almost to my house. Damn. That was a long-ass car drive. Okay, we finished the chapter. Okay, let's save for now. I say we take a small little break. Like 2 minutes because I gotta pee and get more water. My throat is very sore. So I'll be right back, okay? I'll see you soon. What's good? We're back. Yeah, that was a heavy chapter. I didn't expect it to get so dark so quickly. And I'm honestly wondering what's going to happen next. I went home and washed the day sweat off in the shower. Normally, I could reset everything by taking a shower and forgetting all the bad things, but that didn't happen today. I got out of the shower to find fresh underwear placed neatly in the laundry basket. What? It just... Who put it there? Normally, I didn't stop to think about it, but today I felt happy at my mother's consideration. Wait, what? His mom puts his fucking laundry outside the shower? Okay, I said he's sheltered, but this is just awful. Like this is the mom's fault. What the fuck? That's weird, yeah. He treats him like he's 5. And he has his first shower. Ooh, little Keiichi boy. Here's your laundry. At the same time, however, it made me realize how much Sadako must be suffering. The fuck does that have to do with anything? The very moment I was appreciating this gentle kindness, Sadako might be being bruised by her uncle's cruel words. Oh, that's what I mean, he is 5. He just has the body of a 16-year-old. He's the reverse of Rika. I went up to the 2nd floor and shut myself in my bedroom. Then, facing my desk, I folded my arms. My topic of thought, of course, was Sadako. We thought that if we could just get a public agency to intervene in the right way, the problem would be solved. But with what Coach said, I didn't think it would be so easy. Sadako was obstinate, and she would stubbornly deny the abuse and try to endure it. And that was an act of atonement towards Satoshi, who had protected her before and then run away. I'm sorry. As long as she thought that way, the situation wouldn't be so simple. But earlier, before Coach, I made a clear declaration. If I thought Sadako was in danger, then I would do what I had to do. In the end, that meant I was just going to wait and see too. Nevertheless, I thought I'd draw a clearer line than Coach or my friends had. If the time came, I would report it. Over the phone. Okay, we get it? Keiichi, master of saying one thing 30 times per minute. Given Sadako's personality, she might criticize me if she found out, but I believed it was ultimately the best decision. I feel like the writing took a bit of a dive, though. Like, it was better in the 2nd game. It didn't feel as how do you say that? Unplanned. It feels like abuse for psychology for dummies. True. Wait, Keiichi Maibara, would that really be all it took for the problem to end? Say that I reported it to a public agency like the Child Consultation Center. What if they stuck to their wait-and-see attitude like last year again? Last year, they decided to do just that, and the situation improved temporarily. But then the aunt, thinking herself a laughingstock, increased her tormenting in secret. In the end, things became more underhanded than ever before. This year, it was her uncle. I had just seen him for the first time today, but the man seemed much more direct, much more violent than the word underhanded could imply. He wasn't like their aunt. No, not that subtle. He was more direct. He might also assault her with punches and kicks. That could easily be discerned from the bruises and such I saw on Sadako's body. Shit, you're too naive, Keiichi Maibara. However heroic it may seem to report what was happening, if it doesn't save her, then it doesn't mean anything. Reporting things to a public agency was only one option, and leaving everything to them would be dangerous. He's gonna plan on killing the dude, isn't he? Like, look, I get not all of the audience is gonna know about this stuff, but seriously, the amount of repetition. I feel like this whole game could have been cut in half. We would need something more to guarantee Sadako's safety. I scratched madly at my head, not at his neck. Thinking, then tilted it back, wanting at least a little bit of calm. The memories of angry arguing with my friends today came to mind. This game is mentally abusing us. If I had to wager a guess, I think that this game was written before the 2nd one. You know? I'm pretty sure that the writer had the whole story planned out from the beginning. And I think this part of the story was written before. It just got released later. Because it feels like he learned a lot from the feedback of the first game and then changed a bit of the writing for the second one. I was embarrassed that I hadn't realized it until Rena said something. She was right. My house is big. Compared to all the houses with the straw-thatched roofs in Hinamizawa, it really was big. We did actually have empty rooms. I've never thought that we were affluent, but also never that we were poor. Wait, they have empty rooms? So it's not a house, it's a mansion. I don't know, do you have empty rooms in your house? I don't. I just didn't admit it because people would think I was arrogant. But maybe my family really is wealthy. Kind of see each question arc as a route, just instead of being 4 routes in the same game, it's 4 separate games. I mean, yeah, of course. That's how indie visual novels are made, because it's much more sensible to make smaller and cheaper games and release them as you produce them than take a super big risk on producing one full game and maybe it not selling. It's like, for example, how the Telltale games were made. Also, you're saying having routes is a big budget thing? I'm saying that it costs more because you don't earn money while you produce the rest. You know? Like if you produce if he made this game with, even if he made 2 games out of it with 4 and 4 arcs, he'd still have to make 4 full routes, produce that, and then sell that, and hope that he makes enough to make his second game. It's much easier to release one part of it, then go and sell that while you're already working on the second one. Because back when he made that, there wasn't really much crowdfunding stuff like there is today. He probably funded the first game completely on his own, saying he doesn't have the money to do that compared to a company. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is also the reason why often games like smaller indie games on Steam get released in parts, where they release like the first 2 or 3 chapters of a story with the official release of the game, and then bring out patches afterwards, because they need the money right now to produce what they still have planned, even if it's free updates. We had a few rooms we could lend to Sadako. The guest rooms are only in use when people related to my dad's job come and stay every once in a while. Plus, if we cleaned up a few of the rooms my dad uses for storage, they could work for her as well. How many rooms does this fucking house have? As for food expenses, that might have been a more serious problem than a kid like me could imagine. I mean, let's see, I cook for myself almost every day, and I need around $250 per month for food. Maybe 300. That doesn't count stuff like water and all of those expenses, right? So I'd say for a single person's living expenses, you need around 400-ish bucks to 500 nowadays for a decent life. If we go back in time 40 years where this plays, yeah, you could probably get away with like 200 bucks. But that's still a lot of money. To be honest, I thought routes was the thing in most VNs, but apparently not. I never said it wasn't. I'm just saying that this is much more manageable for a game made by a single person. Lunch every day would be manageable. All of our friends would just have to bring a little bit more for lunch than they usually did. With everyone pecking at everyone else's food anyway, it would be manageable. For breakfast and dinner, though, that would have to be up to Mom. I would need to convince her to lend Sadako more than just a room. Of course, I don't even think convincing her of that would be easy. About how much did it cost for one person to eat? How many tens of thousands of yen per month? They couldn't complain about it if I shouldered that, could they? I only had 10 or 20,000 yen in savings, but it was something. That's like enough for a month, maybe. I actually had even more thanks to New Year's gifts and such, but my parents had taken all that and put it into a fixed time deposit. If I could get access to that, it should add up to a lot of money. And if I got that far, I should ask Mion and Rena to share some of the burden. Of course, I wouldn't depend on that. Rena got mad at me, didn't she? About how I shouldn't just shove responsibility onto others. I'd have to ask for help. Even so, I'd basically be saving her myself. I would follow through on it. Oh, but it wouldn't be only food expenses. There were a lot of other things that you couldn't do without, like baths and laundry. My mother was awfully methodical and strict about cutting out inefficiencies, and for once that was troublesome. She might even make reference to the money it would cost for the detergent Sadako would use for her own clothes. I couldn't think about only food expenses. I needed more money. Hey, wait, Keiichi Moyabara, since when was all this about money? Even if you could afford it, you would need your parents' permission first. They'd be looking after a young girl for a really long time. How about getting her permission? Just an idea. And didn't we talk about how she literally doesn't want to be saved? What would I say to persuade them? Just calm down a little bit, Keiichi Maibara, and you'll realize right away that you can't. Even if you ask them seriously, they would tell you to call the police. Even if you manage to gain their empathy, why should the Maibara family have to shoulder all of the burden by itself? That's what would happen. That was it. It was very sad and frustrating, but no matter how much I wanted to help, my resolution alone couldn't save anything. Our kids? Are they really this powerless? I felt frustrated. I believed my feelings were stronger than anyone else's. I even thought they were stronger than Coach's. And yet, at that point, there were 2 knocks on my door, and Mom poked her head inside. Stop repeating yourself. I really hope we move on from the constant exposition. Were you awake? I've been calling you for dinner for a while. Oh, yeah, I'm coming. As someone financially dependent on his parents, I should say this, but I just sat around doing nothing and food suddenly appeared. It felt so natural to me that I'd shamelessly thought of it as the responsibilities of the parents who gave birth to me. Keiichi, keep repeating yourself. Jay, can you not? But when I realized that natural thing was actually a right, I came to realize just how hard it was to grant that privilege to others. Even the boring meal in front of me, no better than it ever was, had more meaning than that tonight. This guy has a talent of talking shit about his mom without meaning to. You know? The boring meal. Like, he's literally sitting there thinking, damn, I'm so lucky that I get food and shit, but this is boring as shit. You're not great, you're great. Hello, Sarah. Whatever that's supposed to mean, thank you. It feels like padding and trying to dumb it into an insane degree. I mean,
I think this is not trying to dumb it down. It's actually trying to just write a teenager how a teenager would think. And teenagers are dumb. Most adults are dumb. I'm dumb. And I probably think about a lot of shit I wouldn't have to, and if somebody wrote out my thoughts, people would get mad at me for thinking too much stupid stuff. There was stuff for 3 on the table right now. For Dad, for Mom, and for me. I can imagine how hard it would be to add another place at the table. Think, Keiichi Maibara. If it was hard to make food for 4, then just think about how 4 people could eat food made for 3. Oh, I changed around the way I thought, and with that I began to consider an unthinkably bold plan. That's right. I didn't need to get my parents' permission. She should just live here in secret. This guy. This dude. This dude is on some shit, man. Please let us go through with that idea. I understand the way he thinks because I also get into this repetitious loops. The difference is that it's not fun to watch or read. This turned around into a weird position. Let's kidnap Sadako. OMG, Keiichi big brain. Keiichi's best idea is kidnapping the girl and not letting anybody know she's actually there. I got upset when I found out a while ago, but if I remember right, if you climbed out the window, then shimmied down... He said shimmied. Shimmied down the first floor roof or the gutter, you could go in and out of the house directly from my room. Sadako's physical ability far surpassed my own, so it would be even easier for her. I hadn't even thought about it, but her living here secretly was actually a necessity. I'd only have to bring Sadako to my house when the public agency said they would wait and see. In other words, if Sadako's uncle continued to be her guardian. If, in such a situation, word got out that she was here, her uncle would barge in and drag Sadako back with him. Her uncle was her rightful guardian, so my parents would hand her over without an argument, no doubt. So, I needed to keep it a secret that she was living here. If it needs to be a secret, then having my parents' help would mean a lot, but gotta deceive your allies first, like they always say. I think I gotta let my cat in, just give me a second. Hello there, Luna. I don't know if you're even visible on the camera because you're black and you're probably fitting into the background way too well. Bro thinks this little girl has acrobatics 100. This dude reads too much manga. And I say that. Alright, so we're now lying to our parents. Bro, I love how he slowly came to understand the situation more and more logically and then completely 180s and goes for the most illogical situation possible. He's literally an idiot. Luna, can you not bite my fingers, please? You want to cuddle, but it's not time to cuddle. You should be happy I even let you in. Okay. Persuading my parents was an unrealistic proposition. So I'll search for a way to have her live here in secret. Can you not just sit on the fucking keyboard? Okay, you either sit on my lap or you go away. You idiot. She just kicked my mouse down. Only Cage could do that. He's special.
When I was around, she would just have to be really quiet in my room on the second floor. The issue was the daytime. See, you don't want to cuddle. If she was hiding from her uncle, then she shouldn't go to school. It might be lonely, but not going would be the better option. I could easily teach Sadako the stuff she learns in her grade. Actually, during school, I mostly help all the younger kids out rather than study my own stuff. And now he's a teacher too. During the day, I would need to go to school, so I wouldn't be at home. My parents respected my privacy now that I was this age, so they wouldn't go snooping around in my room while I was gone. I think. Oh, they totally do. So he wants to lock her up in his house. So like the thing that his uncle is currently doing to Sadako. Oh my god. Is this where the story is going? Like, is he gonna go through with that? And then she gets so depressed that she kills him? That'd be awesome. If she holed herself up in my room, it would be okay, right? If my parents did come, thanks to where the second floor was, she could hear their approach from the sound of them coming up the stairs. And there would be a little bit of time before they got all the way up. I estimated a few seconds that she would be able to hide herself in the closet. Wait, Keiji. Something doesn't make sense. She's gonna do the exact thing her uncle does to her, just minus the alcoholic fits of rage. Oh, he's gonna be pissed at her all the time. Because he's gonna think he's doing her a favor. And he's gonna expect her to be grateful. She can't go to school, and what'll she do for lunch? Calm down already, I could just leave her my own lunch, couldn't I? Should just go to school without lunch and get everyone else to split theirs with me. Okay, that's good. No more contradictions or oversights, right? Oh, breakfast and dinner. I could somehow get her to go without breakfast. Great idea. I can go with 2 meals a day when I sleep in on Sundays after all. I can, if when I sleep in, I can do without my breakfast sometimes. So how about I cut 1/3 of the meals for a growing girl, because it's a necessity, right? Now he's treating her even worse than her uncle did. True, he's at least feeding her. Every night, I'd pretend as though I'd had a bigger appetite, then ask for a bigger helping. And then I could just somehow give part of that to Sadako. No, you couldn't. That would maybe fly for like 2 or 3 days. Keiichi is the protagonist of all time. Keiichi is the human of all time. I stood up from my seat, with my plate of fish in my hands. Oh, he's thinking about all of this while literally sitting at the dinner table, isn't he? What's wrong, Keiichi? Sit down and eat your food. Well, I'm kind of not in a good mood. Could I eat up in my room?
You'll make a mess. Eat dinner at the dinner table.
Sorry. Hey, wait. I only tried to take away 1 plate of fish, and they ganged up on me? In reality, it was impossible for me to smuggle food away without my parents knowing about it, but it must have been worth taking the time to think about. There must be some trick, some method to avoid them realizing. Even if I can't think of one today, I might think of one tomorrow. My appetite was rapidly fading, so I finished early and went back to my room. I went back there and tried to think about it from Sadako's point of view. The point of view where she says, I don't want that, shut the fuck up, leave me alone. It's literally gonna turn her into Grisaya Ghoul due to starvation. I thought it was too early to make jokes about that. For example, let's say my parents were coming up the stairs right now. I've got to hide. I opened the closet. Clatter, clatter. It didn't open quietly. Hey, wait, didn't it always open real smooth and quiet? Why was it suddenly doing this now? Was this house even structurally safe? Was it already showing signs of dilapidation? Or where the hinge is just not greased well enough. Could I just apply some lubricating wax? The sound itself may have been soft, but it left me uneasy as to whether my parents would detect the happening when they climbed the stairs. But this was an easy problem. I could do something about it. I just had to fix it up a little bit so it didn't make any noise anymore. For now, I'll close myself in the closet. Yes, though, I successfully hid. I basically always left my futon out on the floor. I couldn't think of any real reason my parents would want to go into my closet. Even so, there might still be some reason they would. I might need to construct some sort of camouflage so that she wouldn't be noticed even if they did open it. But the more she worried about that, the less time she'd have to actually hide, meaning it would be more likely they'd hear a noise. And then I suddenly had to go to the bathroom. The bathroom? Oh, the need to use the toilet! So obvious, and yet such a fatal flaw. The only bathroom was on the first floor. It would be absolutely impossible for her to use it without my family realizing. Might need to set up a portable toilet, like a chamber pot, I guess. Sadako would hate it, so she could go in my room.
What? What? Seriously? He is selfishly playing the hero without thinking about the consequences. Bro, what the actual fuck? Oh my god, man. This is disgusting. The stench would be pretty terrible. Yeah. Anyone sensitive would probably notice the smell without even coming into the room. Just imagine Keiichi's dad walking past the room and he's like,
Keiichi's son, you know what? Lately, your room kind of smells like shit. What's going on in there?
please tell me there's not a game focusing on Keiichi. Keiichi is the cover character for the 6th game. So think about that what you will. The bath was okay though. She could just take a bath when my parents were out, but I couldn't do anything about a toilet. When her stomach started to hurt, my parents were lazing around downstairs, she'd be in trouble. It was then that I noticed that I'd been clawing at my head with both hands. I sat down in the dark closet with my knees against my chest. I buried my face in them and tore at my hair. The more I thought, the more contradictions popped up. The more I thought, the more things failed. And the more I worried, the more I was reminded of how little power I actually had. My back started to hurt from staying in a cramped place for so long. But if I was to shelter Sadako, I would need to force her to feel this pain, to live in such a dark, narrow, suffocating place forever. But it would still be better than being abused by her uncle, or so I wanted to think. It got hard to breathe, so I gave in and crawled out of the closet. I looked at the clock, and to my surprise, it was 3:30 in the morning. It had felt like so little time, but it was so unbelievably long. When I realized that, I was slammed with a terrible urge to sleep, as if the time had only just caught up with me. I didn't have enough strength to fight it, and I fell flat onto my futon. Shit, I can't just go to sleep like this. If I waste any time, that'll mean I'm taking the same wait-and-see attitude that Mion and Coach and everyone else did. I needed to keep worrying about how to rescue Sadako for a minute, or even a second longer than everyone else. Isn't there a better way? Isn't there a better way? That one phrase I spoke to myself swirled around and round in a spiral and steadily took over my mind. For the last moment of consciousness, I thought, there were a lot of blind spots in what I'd considered tonight, but I absolutely wasn't wrong for having those ideas. Tomorrow, I would suggest this bold plan to the others. Mion might be able to help somehow, and Rena was really sharp, so she might have a good suggestion. And above all, we needed to rescue Sadako once again, with everyone helping out. I felt pathetic for letting myself fall asleep. I'm sorry, Sadako. Now he's doing it out of a sense of petty pride and wanting to be better than anyone else. Take everything back I've said about Sadako. My hatred is now on Keiichi. Also, that's the reason why people started liking Sadako in this chapter. Because they started to hate Keiichi even more. Dude. This guy is the pits. This is... I have never... I don't like the term. But I have never seen so much toxic positivity in my life. Thought about saving her more than you, which makes me a better person. I can see him actually saying that to Mion. Like, he's gonna bring up his plan, and they're gonna tell him that it's shit. And he's gonna throw a fit at them, and saying that he's the only one who actually cares about Sadako. What about this is toxic positivity? Oh, because he thinks he's doing the right thing, right? He thinks he's helping. Isn't that what it means? Doing something that is shit, but you're doing it in good faith. I don't know your weird Gen Z words. Like, the phrase doesn't mean anything to me. It's just bullshit. It's just deranged ramblings. We didn't have words for that back in my day. We just said he's an idiot, and that's it. The ceiling blurred into view. It was hot. Dude, I think he said that like 10 times already today. There was a thin layer of moist sweat on me. The voices of the cicadas permeating my room were somehow grating to my head. But today's not Sunday, is it? I remember today was a weekday and quickly brought myself to consciousness. Then I finally leaped out of bed. The clock read a little before 10. I was totally late. When I wandered downstairs, my mom would get mad at me. There was nothing I could do, though. After reviewing the schedule for the school for a moment, I suitably rearranged the stuff in my bag. I hurried and got dressed and went down the stairs. There was no sign of my parents anywhere. Maybe they went out somewhere together. So that's how it was. My mother had probably woken me up this morning, but then I fell back asleep without remembering it. And my parents, thinking I'd gone to school, left. Something like that probably happened. I went to the front door, and as I expected, it was locked. It looked like I was right. It was further evidence of my speculation being correct. When I realized my parents weren't here, I suddenly felt less like I had to rush to get to school. Well, now you're late anyways, right? So what does it matter? Toxic positivity is more like forcing everything to be positive and happy even when it isn't. Like, for example, pretending to be positive about something bad and not allowing that thing to change. Okay. Alright, so it's not, but you get what I mean. There was one portion of breakfast left in the dining room. Probably mine. The milk they'd poured in had gone warm since a while ago. It also probably already got bad. When I realized how hard it would be to sneak food for Sadako, yesterday I had cried. When this dude cries a lot. I'm sorry to every modern man out there who isn't ashamed of crying. You shouldn't be ashamed of crying. But if you cry as often as he does, he's a bit of a pussy. I'm sorry. This guy cries about everything that doesn't sit well with him. Thinking back on it, food wasn't the only issue in that regard. I wasn't in a position where I could care for Sadako. I wasn't in a position where I could care for Sadako by myself. That must be a typo. It's such a heavy thing just to save a single person. I'd seen this on TV and in comics all the time. Those feel-good words about how you'll save your friends for sure and such. Was that why I ran my mouth like that, swearing to save her because I wanted to feel good about it? No, that absolutely wasn't true. Because the fact was I couldn't save her. Because I didn't want to think like an adult. Like I couldn't do anything but watch.
Had Sadako gone to school today? I immediately realized that was a meaningless question. Whether or not she did, there wouldn't be a change in the environment she'd been placed in. If I couldn't save her and no one else could either, then we could only pray for a miracle. Well, couldn't it be an actual problem that right after the day he said he wouldn't leave her, he doesn't show up to school? Wouldn't that potentially be super, super bad for her psyche? I mean, crying is important, but I also think you should cry about every little... Don't think you should cry about every little thing. If you are, then you need to grow stronger regardless of gender. I do think that that men should cry less than women. But that's just my pre-2000s ass talking. I get that most people disagree with me nowadays on that, but it's just how I see it. I think it doesn't matter. Well, I think it does. We just have to agree to disagree on that, because I don't have a reason for thinking that, I just do. Are we so powerless? With a vague goal of getting to school in mind, I sluggishly put on my shoes and stumbled out the front door. I had only overslept by 2 or 3 hours. Only. Like, this dude overslept for longer than I have overslept in my entire life combined. But the sunlight and air felt completely different from how they usually were in the morning. Well, of course they did. Once 10 o'clock came around, you could barely call it morning anymore. I didn't feel like walking the same old route to school. I needed to ultimately end up there, but it was like I didn't want to choose the shortest route, the most proactive one to go to school. Put it in a more positive light, maybe I wanted some time to walk by myself and think. For as much time as he wastes thinking about useless ways to save Sadako, he doesn't really seem to care a lot about actually spending time with her when he can. I had to go to school, partly to make sure Sadako was safe. But I hadn't come up with any plans yet, nothing since last night, so the path I took from my house was in the complete opposite direction. If I went this way, I'd pass Rena's house and the dam site. It would be quite a detour. I calculated how long of a detour it would end up being, then, satisfied with the answer, I started to walk. Is he gonna find something on his way? This seems so random. Rena had brought me to the dam site a few times. One section of it had turned into an unlawful, oversized garbage dump, and Rena really liked going fishing for junk in there. Without that, she'd come off as a completely normal girl, too. I can think of a few other qualities she could do without, but whatever. The view quickly opened up wide, and I was hit by a strong wind. There was no shelter here at this big dam site. Maybe it was a good thing I came here, I thought. At the very least, it was more healthy to think about stuff in a place like this instead of my cramped bedroom. I took a deep breath and filled my lungs with the rich, cold air unique to Hinamizawa. Ring, ring. I turned around reflexively. It was a bicycle bell. Considering where I was standing, I don't think they were trying to get me out of the way. They'd rang the bell because they wanted something from me. Oh. Oh, this man exists. I completely forgot about him.
Hey, excuse me. You're from Hinamizawa, right?
Yes, why? An unexpected appearance? I thought he was just dead. I thought that was just a status quo. Seen this person around a few times. Right, I remembered. His name, I think, was Tomitake, a freelance photographer who lived in Tokyo. He would zealously visit Hinamizawa every season to take pictures, or so Mion and the others told me, I think.
Could you tell me how to get to the Furde shrine from here? I think I left my map at the inn. I don't know where to go.
The shrine? From here? I knew where everything was in my head, but explaining how to get there was difficult. I was a little irritated at having been bothered for this, but when I realized it meant my detour actually meant something, that feeling faded quickly. I'll tell you, but it's a little difficult to explain. I could bring you there if you don't mind. Really? I would be in your debt. Thanks a lot. Not gonna lie, this game has been pretty whatever so far. I think that's because it feels extremely padded. But are you sure? Did you have something to do? Tomitaki-san finally appeared to have realized how strange it was for a student like me to be here at this time of the day. I smoothly told him not to worry about it, then turned my back and started walking towards the Furde shrine. Tomitaki-san hurried to turn his bike around and came after me. Sorry. Don't worry, all guys have times when they need to split up from the pack and be lone wolves for a while. What a free-minded freelancer. It was easier for me, too, that he was under that impression. I'm Tomitake, a freelance photographer. I specialize in wild birds and landscapes. I'm still pretty unknown, though. It seemed absurd for him to introduce himself when I was just showing him to the shrine, but he gave his name, so I needed to give mine back. I'm Maibara. Pleased to meet you, I guess. Well, he's such an asshole to pretty much everybody but his friends. Thought we were past this when we got to the ending of the second game, but I guess I'll never learn. As I said, I think this was written before the second game. Maibara-kun? Pleased to meet you. He seemed like a pretty silly man, but that felt kind of good considering I'd been suffocating with worry over Sadako all night. Along the way, Tomitake-san spoke at length to me about how precious the nature in Hinamizawa was, and how it was a treasure trove of rare wild birds, despite my not having asked. I wasn't interested in what he had to say, but he seemed to be enjoying himself, so I left him to it. Damn, we moving fast. These steps will take you up to the shrine grounds. Thank you. You really helped me out. I think I'm a little late. As Tomitake-san mumbled to himself, he left his bicycle nearby and started to climb the stairs quickly. I didn't have a watch, but as far as my internal clock goes, I could guess it was still a little late in the morning. School wasn't very far from here. Maybe I could kill a little more time until then. With that in mind, I went up the steps in pursuit of Tomitake-san. What is this dude doing? He just doesn't care for Sadako at all. When I reached the top of the long staircase, I arrived at the wide-open shrine grounds that were too grand-looking for this tiny village. Tomitake-san, oh, there he is. It looked like he was supposed to be meeting someone here. Then he got lost and ended up late. He was bowing to a lady who must have been the person he was meeting. Oh, that lady. Okay. I knew her. Game hasn't had enough baseball games, that's the reason. True. Why did we only have one? I completely forgot that the whole baseball game was also in this game, by the way. I thought it was in the second one.
Oh, is that you, Maibara-kun? Hello there. You off from school today?
What? Oh, Maibara-kun, you followed me? I wasn't really planning to. I just wanted to kill some time.
Oh my. Arriving at work late like an executive. How refined. You certainly are famous, taking the time to look like a big shot.
What was I, a celebrity? Well, she did say my name out of nowhere anyway. I was oddly concerned about what she meant by famous.
Oh, you still can't remember my name.
This is Mio Takano-san. She works at the village clinic. Wait, she's a nurse? Well, doesn't that just make everything a lot more interesting? Maibara-kun, you seem healthy, so you probably haven't been to the hospital much, have you?
Now that we're finally acquaintances, the next time you're sick or anything, I suppose I'll give you a little bit of special treatment.
This lady named Takano-san, I kind of didn't remember her. Maybe we passed each other on the street a few times, so I was pretty sure this was the first time we talked. Well, this is Hinamizawa. Even if I don't know a person's name, it's not unusual for them to know mine. I glanced at Takano-san and saw she had a bag and a camera. Are you photography partners? Was that why you were meeting each other? Oh, we're nothing like partners. I am but an amateur, and Jiro-san is gently initiating me into it. Oh, he's gently initiating something, all right. Right? That's not it at all. Takano-san's a quick learner. She could take pictures just fine without my guidance. I mean it. I couldn't tell which of them was ahead in the conversation. Well, they were certainly one couple you wouldn't get tired of watching. Festival is finally coming up the day after tomorrow. I hope I can take some good pictures this year. I hate these people, especially Takano. I think there's more to them than we know. I plan on taking some pictures of the setup tomorrow. I want to capture the festival energy shown by the preparations for it. Oh, I just remembered. There was some village festival called Watanagashi or something the day after tomorrow on Sunday. They hold a service with a pile of old futons in order to give thanks to Hinamizawa's guardian deity, Oyashiro-sama, I think. Oh, you're correct. You have quite extensive knowledge, despite just having moved here. Yes, it is a festival. What the fuck? Luna, don't press the screenshot key. Yes, it is a festival to give thanks to Oyashiro-sama. Takano-san smiled somehow meaningfully, but didn't tell me what part of a festival to think Oyashiro-sama needed to be laughed at. Cryptic as ever, Takano-san. But I do wonder what will happen this year. You know what they say. If it happens twice, it'll happen a third time. I can't read because Luna's ass is in the way. Oh, there we go. And it's already happened 4 times. I think there's less evidence that it won't happen the 5th time, don't you think? I knew what they meant by their whispered exchange. On the day of Watanagashi, a freak death always occurs, which people call Oyashiro-sama's curse, and a disappearance occurs that people call being demoned away. These strange events had happened 4 years running, and Watanagashi, rapidly approaching the day after tomorrow, marked the 5th. Oyashiro-sama puts a curse on enemies of the village, eh? If it does happen this year, I wonder who will find themselves at gunpoint. Oh, and I always come here to pray and donate money whenever I visit. It won't be me for sure. Is that a gag? The writer knows, right? That those two are gonna die again? Oh, is that so? They say that Oyashiro-sama has been especially harsh on outsiders recently, you know? My Barakun may have only just moved in, but he is a proper member of Hinamizawa. But you, Jiro-san, are a stranger who only comes once a year. I wonder, will he let you go this year? That's harsh. Tomitaki-san was the only one with a paired grin, but we all were smiling, me included. What if the uncle dies? What if he is killed instead? I think that... I also have a prediction. I said earlier that I think that the game is going in the direction where Keiichi goes hyper protective mode against for Sadako, and I think he's gonna kill the uncle. I think he's gonna use the festival as an excuse to kill the uncle. I think his solution to saving Sadako will be killing the uncle and getting away with it by doing it on the night of the Watanagashi. Especially the way he said you only come once a year, as in what the uncle just did. True. Oyashiro-sama, the one who used the curse to kill people involved with the dam construction project one after the next. He killed the dam construction manager, killed Sadako's parents for supporting it, and the next year he even killed her aunt. If the demoning away was part of that curse, then you could also add Satoshi to the list of victims. As I thought about it, I realized that in the serial freak death incidents, the overwhelming majority had the last name Hojo. True. To be honest, us witnessing him murder someone could be a really fresh take on the story. We already did that in the first game. Half of the deaths and disappearances had come from the Hojo family. The Hojo family lived here in Hinamizawa. Did that mean Oyashiro-sama punished and cursed them particularly harshly because they had been in favor of the dam? Have you heard the news that Sadako's uncle has returned? That's a weird thing to say to two strangers. Takano-san, who had been enjoying a few words with Tomitaka-san, was caught unaware by my sudden inquiry. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that? Sadako's parents were killed by the curse, and her aunt too. So I was wondering if maybe if you went in order, her uncle would be next. Her aunt had a miserable death from the curse last year, and her uncle let his fear take over and fled into town, right? Oyashiro-sama doesn't allow people to try and abandon the village, does he? I had intended to be quite this persistent, but those words, they just flowed out of my mouth without me thinking about it. I had a feeling. What feeling? Right. Oyashiro-sama's curse. I didn't believe in something so unrealistic, of course, but the fact was that every year, unfortunate accidents and incidents happened to enemies of the village. Like Takano-san just said just now, it happened 4 times. No one could say there wouldn't be a 5th. Yeah, he's already going in the direction in his mind. This dude's gonna kill somebody. I'm sure. That's an interesting suggestion. It is true that if you look at those sacrificed in previous years, those named Hojo come up quite frequently. Given how long it's gone on for, her uncle being the one to die or disappear this year isn't out of the question. Not again, Takano-san. Don't laugh about it. It could really happen. I'm sorry, but Oyashiro-sama's curse is my life's work. She's Oyashiro-sama. That's the false flag they're trying to plant all the time. I think they're trying to make you think that she's the one who is carrying out the curse or something and then commits suicide or whatever. But I think she's not. I think she's actually like what she says she is. She's studying the curse for some reason or another, but she's not actually involved in it. Takano-san gave off a mysterious, somehow intellectual impression, and her life's work was mysterious in its own right. She probably really liked inexplicable supernatural phenomena or something. Takano-san, you seem like you know a lot about Oyashiro-sama. Give me your honest thoughts. Given that he's a Hojo and that he's returned, what are the chances that the uncle will fall to the curse? My, what? You seem like you really want this uncle of hers dead. That's not... I wonder. It all depends on the whims of God. My, Barakun. Do you know the true identity of Santa Claus? Huh? I got a strange question all of a sudden and I couldn't immediately answer. Oh! Oh shit, we never had a CG of her. What, you don't know? It's your daddy. The daddies in everyone's family. What? That's what you meant? Well, of course, everything ultimately comes down to humans in the end. After all, humans are the only ones living in the world. All strange things should be explainable in terms of human actions.
Felt like I put that somewhat strangely, but Takano-san was not as dissatisfied with that reply as I might have guessed. Oh, it's impressive that you've caught on to that at such a young age. You're right. Strange things happen in the world of men. Strange things that happen in the world of man are all caused by man for his own benefit. My Barakun, I ask you again then, this time not Santa Claus, but Oyashiro-sama. Do you know anything about who Oyashiro-sama is? Takano-san took a step towards me and gazed into my eyes as she asked. Santa Claus was really the parents of every family's children. If lionizing that legend was a corporate tactic to try and profit during Christmas sales, then what was Oyashiro-sama really? Yeah, I got my theory on that as well. Luna, are you okay? I think Oyashiro-sama is the three families. I think that the three families, especially the Sonozaki family, uses the legend of Oyashiro-sama to get rid of the village enemies. Or at least they did it at first. They tried to use it to get rid of the damn stuff, but now that they have eliminated all the damn proponents, they need to keep up appearances and can't stop killing because they have to, otherwise the police would obviously notice that it's not a curse and start taking the case seriously, and they'd get caught. So I think they're in a bad position where they don't know who to kill anymore because everybody who was a village enemy is essentially already dead. But they also can't stop killing because if they did, everything would just blow up, basically, right? Oh, didn't you already say there are only humans in this world? Everything can be explained by human actions, right? My Barakun, keep this to yourself, okay? String of freak death incidents attributed to Yashiro-sama's curse. Takano-san's view is that they may be premeditated homicides performed by the people of Hinamizawa and based on some kind of ceremony. No, don't misunderstand me. My life's work is to research teachings, thoughts, and cultures from the viewpoint of folklorism. I don't really care at all about who the culprit really is. Just keep that in mind, please. I could tell only that she was saying some crazy stuff. To use a food analogy, like you'd force feed a duck to be fattened. She forced her words down my throat. That's what it felt like. To understand that in the first place, you have to go all the way back to the ancient times when Hinamizawa was called Onigafuji, or the Demon's Abyss. The transcendents who lived there believed themselves to carry the blood of demons, and so were only half human. Takano-san, having entered her home field, leaned forward and began to speak of ridiculous matters. Tomitaki-san realized she was overawing me and interrupted for me. Takano-san, you can't just chatter on about that stuff to my Barakun. Look, he's really confused. Oh my, are you? If you want to hear more, ask me anytime. I have heaps of the grotesque stories that boys your age seem to love hearing. Thank you. If I feel like it, I will. For now, I softly and safely gave my refusal. Takano-san seemed a little unhappy that Tomitaki-san had rained on her parade, but she stopped talking about it then. Even so,
it was still a very interesting story. That Oyashiro-sama's curse, which we thought of as strange freak deaths, were really homicides, perpetrated by people of the village. Well, I mean, if you thought about it logically, it would have to be. People wouldn't be dying because of a curse. Somebody's obviously killing people and making it look like one. Indeed. As for who that is, it might be safer not to try and find out. You seem like you know, Takano-san. You may not have proof, but you seem like you believe it. Oh my. Why do you think that? I just kind of felt it vaguely. It didn't seem like her extreme passion for this research would calm down just because the things were taboo or because it was safer and easier. This person loved walking through the profound, forbidden abyss of risks and taboos. Let's leave it at that, Keiichi-kun. I just helped you escape, and now you're trying to talk about Oyashiro-sama again. I wanted to take a nice walk while it was still cool. Tomitake-san seemed a little disappointed not to be able to go on the date he'd planned since I had brought up a weird topic. But right now, there was something I wanted to ask, just for a little bit. And that was about whether Sadako's uncle will be chosen for the curse this year. I wish this game had more CGs. I mean, it only got some at all because it got the remake, right? I don't think the original had any. If he was, then another miracle would happen, just like last year. A terrible incident would happen again, but it would release Sadako from her unfortunate circumstances once more. Well, I do have a few suspicions as to the kind of people who would probably become involved, of course. It's a natural, inevitable conclusion for anyone who's researched the history of Onigafuchi village. Who do you mean? What would I do if I knew? I asked that question to the other me deep inside, but got no reply. Just a quick second, I gotta let the cat out again. How enthusiastic. What would you do if you knew? Nothing, really. If you found out, you might get into danger yourself, you know. Maybe the 5th year's curse would be you. Takano-san, toying with taboo, gave a devilish, satisfied smile, as though nothing in the world would be more amusing. She was probably trying to tease me, but it didn't feel like I was like going along with her little game one bit. You like to talk pretty big, but you don't really know yourself, do you, Takano-san? I had felt a tinge of irritation at Takano's roundabout way of speaking, but those emotions escaped my mouth like water flowing through a strainer. Even I was surprised at how directly I had spoken about what I felt. Of course, I wasn't the only one taken aback. Oh my, you are something. You may just be a boy, but you can still provoke people. How unexpectedly rugged. I don't dislike people like that, you know. Takano-san's tongue poked out of her mouth. What? Takano-san's tongue poked out of her mouth, and I was convinced that it was long, thin, and split in the middle like a snake's. Is he saying that she stuck out her tongue at him? Or is she saying she literally did the snake thing and did... Alright, I'll tell you then. But you have to promise me 3 things first. 1, not to regret it, no matter what I tell you. 2, not to tell it to anyone. 3. Not to tell anyone. I told you. I gulped firmly and nodded. Tomitake-san made an exaggerated expression of distress, gave a dry, vague smile, and lit a cigarette. Please tell me, who is putting this curse on people? Who is it? Who's deciding who gets cursed? And after I said that, I finally realized why I wanted to know. Because you want to ask them to choose the uncle. That's a weird place to end the chapter. Oh, wait. Oh, that's shit. They don't even tell us. You probably said Mion, right? Or Mion's grandma, who is the head of the Sonozaki family. And now he's gonna walk up to Mion and ask her to choose the uncle for this year's festival. Maybe this ain't the end of the chapter. I don't know. We at least skipped ahead quite a bit. But I guess this is a pretty good place to stop, right? It's basically the mid-chapter break. I'll be real. I don't know how much longer I can take. I already took pain suppression, and pain's still coming back, so probably best to stop. I'm gonna be real. We didn't really get to where I wanted to be today, because not a lot happened. We got a lot of backstory, and we got a shit ton of inner monologue by Keiichi that bloated this whole thing by like 2 hours. I didn't exactly like that, I'm gonna be real. But I also feel like we're getting very close to where it gets interesting. Because there is potential here, right? So hopefully next week we can actually get to where something really interesting happens. But for today, I'd say we're done. Yeah, we're done for today. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you had a decent time with some boring but also some awesome moments. The Rena thing was really cool. I like that a lot. And I hope you also have a great weekend, because I won't be seeing you over the weekend if I don't decide to stream Team Fortress 2. You know what? I can check that right here. Team Fortress. There it is. All right. So yeah, it's a free-to-play game. So I could just download it. Maybe we should talk about whether I'll stream it or play it on my own time on the Discord. Because I think Joe will probably want to have a word or two with me on that. But I'll download the game before anything. I'll download it once I'm done for tonight. And yeah. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Have a great weekend.
And I'll see you next week for more Elden Ring and Higurashi and maybe TF2. Goodbye.